Episode 701 of the ChairShot Podcast is here. Another milestone in the books, which commences another quest to the next milestone. So this is our journey. This is our journey to 800, folks, and you're coming along with us. I'm one of your hosts here on this year's ChairShot Podcast. Barry, joined as always by my ever dependable co-hosts. First of all, we got Paul.
Oh hell yeah!
And also Joe. We're also
That's because you said I didn't feel excited enough last week for 700. So,
well, I mean, you know, neither was I. But it's just, you know, I appreciate the hooting nonetheless. Why are you so hot, by the way? Before we started the show, you were lamenting your heat. What's the temp? It's fairly average here where I am.
What's the tempage over here? 19, which doesn't sound like a lot, but
in Ireland that's pretty.
23 over here, 24.
Oh, wow, is okay.
A bit warm. Feels hotter. Feels hotter. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what's going on. We're getting into the bloody summer, lads.
Yeah.
All right. We're all eating ice cream and going to the beach. Well, I'm not doing any of those things, but yeah,
we're all doing those things we're not doing.
We're all doing. I mean, not me. I've had a quiet weekend to myself this weekend. My better half was off adventuring, and I mean, I think I stepped outside once. I think I cleaned out the cat's litter, and it was so stinky that I was like, right, it has to go directly. It's got to go. And I think that was the only time I got fresh air in the last 48 hours. So none of that sun for me, please. None of that sun for me. I've got
48 hours of Sex Storm.
Yes, yeah, I'm playing Sex Storm on Steam and watching. I'm filling out my list of things to discuss on the ChairShot Podcast. I've got quite a few movies and bits and bobs to chat about later. How have your weeks been? Paul, before we went on, you were telling me about your recent outing. Where were you off to recently?
Yeah, I was at Croke Park, one of the biggest stadia in Europe, for the rugby final, the grand final of the URC, Leinster against Vodacom Bulls, all the way from South Africa. And there were South Africans in the crowd who flew all the way over to watch their team barely put in a shift. They were absolute shite. So Leinster hammered them, which was nice. Just one of the kind of, you know, living in Ireland, Barry, you'll feel my pain. Joe is a little bit more privileged than we are.
Oh, yeah.
We don't get to go to a lot of these big events. It happens so often. We don't got a Wembley. We don't got a Wembley Arena in O2.
Yeah, and even less so where it's a sporting thing where someone representing our country is winning, you know.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But in the last few years, I've been to the Europa League final last year. Now the URC final, which is the equivalent of the Premier League in the footy balls, except they don't just have 38 games and go, oh, you're top, you win. They do playoffs, like in good old USA.
Good old USA, yeah.
So this was the playoff final, in a sense. I've been to the Champions Cup semi-final for the rugby. That's like the Champions League semi-final, which was cool. So it's good to get all in, obviously, over in Wembley a couple of times. So it's good to be able, you know, tick some of these off the old bucket list. Like I say, the game wasn't super competitive. Still was fun to be there. What was interesting is Leinster don't typically play out of Croke Park, unless it's a big game. They play out of the RDS, is their like home stadium, and then maybe they'll play a few games in the Aviva again if it's a bigger game. But like this being a final, I expected that there would be some level of impartiality. But it was 100% treated like they were the home team. So even the guy was going, and now the starting lineup for the Vodacom Bulls, number 1, Keenan, whatever. And now your Leinster team. And it was a little bit like, that's not fair for them, is it?
That is funny. I didn't really, and especially because isn't rugby the old buttoned up, oh, we're so bloody sportsman-like. Oh, we love sportsmanship.
It is funny because one thing I kind of miss about going to the rugby is you don't get that kind of, you know, when you're watching a good football match and you'll cut to the crowd and like the section where the two sets of fans are kind of close together, one of them will be given the fucking V sign with their shirt off. one hand giving the V sign, one hand just grabbing the tit.
Fuck.
You do not get that in the rugby. That's what I miss.
It's because it's boring. It's not as good.
Yeah,
boring.
I'm very much a latecomer to rugbies.
Was this rugby union or rugby league?
Rugby union, rugby league, fake rugby. Don't like.
Yeah, no, they don't have. Do they have that in Ireland? Do you have that?
It's not really as big in Ireland, no. Because I tried to watch rugby league, but it's like the second anyone gets tackled, they all just stand up again and kind of backheel the ball,
and they do like a little roll back, and then it's
I like to see lads shoulders get
five points, five. That's 6 and 7 tackles, 8 tackles, 9 tackles. What are you on about? Fuck it.
That's what I like about rugby union is that it's like there are kind of rules, but it's very simple to follow. You know. One thing we didn't get was any like controversial VAR or red cards or yellow cards, which I love. I remember going to the Europa League final a few years ago. My biggest pop of the whole match was the one time the referee went to VAR, even over like a player scoring a hat trick. I didn't care about that. I was like, oh, we're going to VAR. Here we fucking go.
Yeah, I get to see it for real.
The childhood dream has come true. Paul gets to see a match go to the VAR. But it was nice. It was nice to go along. The tickets were very cheap, €30. And we were right on the halfway line, so we had a great view of the whole pitch.
That's good.
And yeah, it was very good. And then for once, Ireland's public transport came through. Train home from city centre free. They said, don't worry, you don't have to pay, just go straight through. So that was nice. I guess you, Barry, and everyone else who pays taxes.
Oh, the bloody tax
payer. Oh, it's sticking to me to my core.
I mean, if you want, we can have a military parade. Our one tank, we can drive it down O'Connell Street.
Yeah, no, I think, I would imagine how shit that would be. I mean, not that, I mean, obviously the one you're referencing was shit as well, but yeah. Well, listen, enjoy that. I'm glad you saved your, how much does that cost normally? €2?
Yeah, something like that.
You know what? You deserve it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. On a non-rugby tangent, I had a dream about wrestling in the week.
Okay.
Which I sometimes do have. And I was so afraid that I was going to forget it that I actually recorded myself at 4 a.m. explaining what the dream was, because I was so afraid I would wake up and then it would be gone.
Okay, this is really sounding like you had an episode.
Sometimes I do. Okay, I'm going to play you my recording here.
Oh my God, excellent.
You can hear it through. Hang on. So this, just to set the scene, right? I recorded this at 4:27 a.m.
Jesus.
On the 14th of June. Okay?
I just had woke up. It's 4:27 a.m. I just had a wrestling dream I didn't want to forget about. So it's an AEW show. And some matches on, and a bunch of people in white cloaked outfits came out. And one of them was Keith Lee. I remember that. He was returning. I remember it was a big tall wrestler, like a Lance Archer type. And it was like, it's Myth! So a wrestler called Myth, who I don't think exists. But that's kind of cool. Anyway, they kind of, that must have been about 12 of them or something. They put their hands all in the center. They're all standing in a circle. They put their hands in the center over something. And it was like, what's in the middle of the ring? What's happening? And then it turned out it was, oh God, this happened. It was like the reanimated body of Bray Wyatt, and it had no head for some reason.
What?
Bray Wyatt never got, like, fair enough, the guy passed away. Don't think he ever got decapitated, as far as I remember, but he never was anyway. It was Bray Wyatt's body with no head. And it had, like, where the neck was like, obviously a hole with like teeth or something weird. And then Bray Wyatt's body got up and gave a fella a choke slam. And then I woke up, and that was a dream.
There you go.
Thanks, Pass, Paul. Not to be dramatic, but that sounds like a sort of audio clip that would be in a news article accompanied by the phrase, and then turn the gun on himself.
I'm listening to it now, and I realize how, like, semi-conscious I was.
Yeah, I mean, you really, yeah. I mean, it's very troubling. It's very troubling audio. It's very spooky audio.
So just to summarize...
That's got to be Myth. I mean, there's your
Yeah. I mean, look, people in kind of white Mordecai-esque garb came out. About 12 of them. One was Keith Lee. One was a wrestler called Myth, who I don't think exists.
I'm gonna look.
A Lance Archer type. I think Myth is a decent name for a big
Myth.
Lance Archer wrestler.
Like
M-Y-T-H.
MYTH.
Yeah.
Myth.
And then they all put their hands in the middle of a big circle, and Bray Wyatt was back, but he was like slightly green skinned and he had no head, and where the head was, there was like a mouth with teeth. And then he gave to whoever was the babyface a chokeslam. That was the dream.
Okay, there is a cage match entry for a wrestler called Glory, also known as Myth. Okay.
There you go.
Background in sports bodybuilding. Trained by Red Bastien. Okay, so this is like an actual guy. Let me click on his matches tabs. He's got 2 matches on Cage Match. Okay.
Okay.
From UWF. I assume this is the Herb Abrams thing. Let me click on this here.
Okay.
1991 Florida, USA. That would be it, wouldn't it? That would be the one.
Sounds right.
The Myth defeats Death Row 3260. If I click on that person, is that a person we would know? No, that's just that person.
No mention of Bray Wyatt anywhere?
No. And then Steve Ray and the Myth defeat the Power Twins by DQ. I mean, this is so. Yeah, I don't know. That's you've got some of the wrestling tropes in there, though. Yeah, like you said, the Mordecai guys, tasteless angle involving a person who passed away.
The return of Keith Lee.
The return of Keith Lee. You know, so was this on was this an episode of Dynamite? This was broadcast.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll get a psychologist to email in and see,
and a social worker,
and we'll see what happens. You know, that's gotta be Myth. That's great stuff.
That's everything that happened in my week, and let's see if that's the last audio I play in this episode.
Yeah, if like a ghost visits you this evening. You shouldn't have said that, Paul. I'm trying to think of a movie where a person has an upsetting dream and then God, it's on the tip of my tongue, and then it's like, no, that actually wasn't a dream. You were doing that. That actually happened. Fuck. For some reason, all I can think of is Heavy Rain, the shitty video game, Paul.
Yeah.
Where the dad has like nightmares that he's living a double life, and then turns out he actually is. I think that's what's happening in that game. Anyway, what about you, Joe? Any news from the week?
Oh, been loads of stuff. Well, it's summer, so Michelle's been booking everything. We're out 3-4 times a week. We got a gig or a show or something. So we're out Thursday night and saw Greg Davies.
Oh, nice.
The Taskmaster himself. In stand up, doing his stand up show. Show was very funny. I'd put 8 out of 10. It kind of fell apart a bit towards the end, but generally quite funny. Very puerile, I would say. He talks about if you like bumholes, shits, pisses,
I do.
cocks, willies, sex, and sort of.
I have one of those.
Sort of throwing up and things like you'll like Greg Davies. There's a lot of that really. So quite funny. Only bad thing is it was a Wembley Arena, which. I can't. Watching comedy in an arena, it is the absolute worst experience. Not helped by because if you're more than the third row back, I mean, you might as well be sat outside, sort of listening on headphones. Really, we were in the very back row, 3 seats from the other end of the stage, so I couldn't even really see the screen, let alone the stage.
Oh, no.
I'll be honest, because they have quite small screens at Wembley Arena. It's not like the O2 where it's like, one of the kind of much bigger modern arenas where they have, lots of screens and it's really nice. It's a really shit arena. I wish they could kind of knock it down and build it up a bit. So that was the only bad thing. Very cramped, and the other thing, right? It said doors open at 6:30, show starts at 8, right? So we got there at 8. Obviously, we're not going to get there early. Got there at 8. Going to get in the seats. The fucking warm-up act comes out at 8 o'clock. I'm thinking, fuck me. I thought by getting there an hour and a half late, we would have missed the warm-up and just got straight into the headliner. But no, the fucking warm-up act, he was called, it's a very interesting name. He was called Barry Castagnola.
Okay.
So it's sort of half Barry and half Claudio Castagnoli.
Yeah. Or Castagnetta, yeah.
Castagnola. He did do a bit about fellas called Barry, which was quite funny. I won't repeat. It wasn't very.
That wasn't very good, but you know,
it was very complimentary.
Oh well, that's
Barry.
Unfortunate.
He said they're all sort of fat white blokes. That's Barry.
Well, I mean, you know, it's been a long couple of months. You know, I do like an energy drink or 2 or 3.
So he wasn't very funny, and he went on for 45 minutes. So that's good. That's good. And then had a half-hour interval. I'm like, what's the point of having a warm-up and then having a half-hour interval before the main comes out?
I mean, it's annoying because if you go to see a band, they have to set the drums up. They have to, you know, test the guitars.
Two, yeah.
For a stand-up, it's just a microphone, isn't it?
They're walking out. He's literally walking out.
Yeah.
Pathetic. So he comes out at 9, so he doesn't finish till 10:30, but that's whatever, it's fine. So it was good. The only other time I've been to Wembley Arena for comedy was to see Ricky Gervais Science against my will. So this was an improvement on that. The only other time I've been to Wembley Arena actually was to see TNA Impact in 2016, which was the last ever Kurt Angle European tour.
Oh yeah,
and the TNA debut of one Will Ospreay. So there you go.
Oh yeah,
down memory lane. So we did that, and then Saturday afternoon went to a little play. Took was it a play or was it a musical? I don't know. It was Stephen Sondheim, his final musical. It was on at the National Theatre, so we took the mum along to that. That was quite fun. Jane Krakowski from 30 Rock was in it. She was very, very, very funny. Good cast, quite a funny production. So yeah, I've done that. And then today, God, Michelle's out again. She's at a concert with Mr. Alexander Crone, friend of the show. Not that he listens. But he's a friend of the show.
You call him enemy of the show.
Enemy of the show. Op of the show. So yeah, they went to see LCD Sound System. So I went with them for a burger, and then I said, look, I've got to get back for the ChairShot podcast because we do not let the fans down. So I cannot be gallivanting around on a Sunday night.
Well, we don't let the fans down in that specific way where we don't do one. I mean, they might be let down, but...
I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying we're there.
There will be an upload in the podcast app of choice.
Yeah. Whether they like it or not. That's the week,
Excellent.
It's been good.
All right, well, Michelle, let us know how LCD Sound System was. And let us know if friend of the show, Alex Crone, was behaving himself at it, if he wasn't being a lout at a gig. I didn't really have much this week. In a very, very boring week myself here. So we've got a long owl sheet of wrestling news to get to here before we jump over to our features and whatnot. I just learned of this days ago here. This little tidbit. If you've been saying to yourself, "Oh, I bloody love AEW," and I'm like, you know who my favorite wrestlers are. Wardlow and Kamile. Well, first of all, please email into the show if that is you, because that is a very funny comp. I guess I suppose you like powerhouses. I guess that's what there's a thread there.
Powerhouse.
They were in the news this week. They are going to be showing up in the latest. I don't even know how many iterations this is. The latest American iteration of Gladiators, hosted by, I guess, still technically a WWE superstar, Michael Mizanin. Actually, I haven't even seen what network this is. Let me pull this up here. Gladiators. Wardlow seems like a guy they would have recruited from Gladiators. You know what I mean? He has that exact look about him of a lad who was like really good on like one season of Gladiators, and so they took a punt on him. Gladiators 2025. Now this is the radio time. This is probably the UK. Yeah, never mind.
American Gladiators. Sure.
Yeah. Wardlow. There we go. Click on news. Remember when Google used to be good? That was, you used to just put things in, you'd get what you want here. The Post Wrestling. Thank you, Post. All right. I knew you'd... Yeah. American Gladiators, Hollywood Reporter. Do we have... Oh, and Eric Bugenhagen, the Boogs.
Yeah. Big Boogs.
Jesse Godders.
Spectacular.
Was he the one... They did the
He was with Robbie E as the, what are they called? The bros.
They did that also. I'm trying to think. Did he? He was doing the Tara is a cougar.
Yes,
thing.
yes,
Is that right?
That was him. Yeah.
So a lot of big wrestling connection. Yeah, the Miz will be hosting. And this reboot doesn't have an expected release date. Okay, that's odd. This post recap doesn't have a Amazon. There we go.
Yeah.
So there you go. I don't think I've ever partook in any of the American stuff.
No, it's probably the same though.
It's probably the same, isn't it? It's probably.
Do they have Barney Walsh on it? That's what I want to know.
No, I don't think so. Looking at this Hollywood Report as well, so it looks like it's gone through roughly kind of the same beats as the UK one, because they had one in the 90s. They then had a 2008 reboot, which the UK also had around that time. That's where Magnus famously came from, Nick Aldis. And then the UK had one last year, and now the American one this year. So I guess they're roughly aligned timing wise.
Jesse Goddard is on it.
Yeah. The bromance guy.
Oh my god! Oh,
he might have been on that TNA show you went to.
That's actually a really good chance he was. Yeah, that timeline sounds like it aligns. No real interest in that, but interesting. I mean, Wardlow.
What is their obsession with rebooting Gladiators?
The UK one's been very successful, so I think that's probably it.
That's probably what it was. Yeah.
Right. Because they kind of updated it, but kept the original feel, and so it's quite a good sort of blend.
So I mean, they rebooted it with a pre-outed as a racist Hulk Hogan.
Yes,
brother.
I mean, what more can you do with American Gladiators than have Hulk Hogan host it? Like,
I'll tell you what, mate. Maybe there's a secret announcement coming from Amazon. Have Hulk Hogan bloody in it, mate. All the contestants running into his fist.
I would love to see him hanging on the hoops and his arms just getting.
I'm just thinking about a funny thing with the head guard on, holding the big Q-tip. Brother, I've made a mistake, brother.
Put him on the travelator. I'd love to see that.
I shouldn't be up here, brother. Oh, he's trying to go to the travelator.
His legs just getting ripped off at the knees.
Yeah, he's just like Mr. Burns when he was defrosted for Lisa's wedding.
His legs just go up without him to the top.
Oh, Brutai, brother. I don't want to be here.
I feel like a fat pig, brother.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it is a thing that generally has had, moderate to good success every time they do it. And just like the UK and Ireland, I think US, like millennials, do have a fondness for growing up in the 90s, and then American Gladiators was on the telly. I think there's still it is culturally ingrained, and plus also it must cost like nothing to produce. I mean, it's like much like the UK one. I've seen that it's in a tiny little, not tiny. It's in a television studio. A couple hundred people in the audience. You're hiring wrestlers, so I know the Gladiators aren't getting paid anything good. And a couple of jabrones off the streets who think they can tackle Wardlow. And they probably film like 20 episodes in a weekend.
Well, I know the key to getting the American version to work and to last is get the rights to that English theme song.
I feel the power of the Gladiators. Yeah, what is the theme one?
Just some fucking bollocks.
It's probably some like library music, some rights free or some shit like that. Could be the Hardy Boys music for all I know. That shows up everywhere.
It's Crash Holly. No, it's just the Gladiators.
So I mean, and those are two people that, I mean, referring to Wardlow and Kamile, I mean, it doesn't really seem like they're on the. Doesn't seem like a return is on the horizon for either of them. Wardlow, they've tried 100 different times, and they seem to only know put him in a group and make him seem like he's slowly dissenting.
Yes.
But think about it.
They had that with the MJF one, and then they absolutely flushed it down the toilet. Whatever that first feud was, they shit him in.
Yeah, it was rubbish. That's a classic for the book for the classic Tony Khan follow up pejorative.
Yes.
On a hot angle. And Kamile, I mean, look, seems like Kamile got herself in some hot water, and I don't know, we may not ever see her again. I wonder, is that a case of just they're going to wait for that contract to run out, and there you go.
Probably.
So a couple of just the one injury update. Komander, they did an angle on Dynamite to take him out of his pre-advertised match. There wasn't a clip of it. It seems like he was on another show at some point over the last week, and he was doing his rope walk, and apparently he did hurt himself on it. Which is crazy because every time he does it, he always your heart is always in your mouth, but he always nails it.
I was just talking to somebody about how he never
fucks it up. Yeah, I suppose that jinxed it, because I think I was also talking recently about that. So jinxed it for the poor fella. But
what bad time with the Mexico show as well.
Yeah, like Arena Mexico, and I mean, plus like now obviously that's probably because it's in the run up to the Arena Mexico, but it feels like they're going all in on the luchadors lately. It feels. Given the show,
you can imagine his family would probably be there. He would have been featured heavily.
Yeah, fucking sucks.
Sucks.
And what was he was in? They had a fun little trios there with Speedball. Well, him and Speedball
and Kevin Knight.
Yeah, I mean that could have been his. I don't think they were going to win the titles or anything, but that could have been a nice little role for him to be in, to get regularly featured, having fun matches. They obviously like Speedball, so Komander getting a little tag along push. Very unfortunate. So hopefully not too long for Komander on the shelf there.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about this Kelly going to arbitration thing. I mean, I guess that lawsuit wasn't. Maybe he was planning to. He was going to go. He was going to drag that out and go to court with his wrestling promoting billions that he was going to make. But
the wrestling.
But I guess that hasn't. I guess that hasn't materialized. That show one just yet. But so I didn't see this. So what they're going to go arbitrate it and not. Yeah. Okay. I didn't see very much in Kelly's future. I'd say, you know what, I can imagine he might get something out of AEW. He might. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a small go away payment, but probably not.
I mean, look, on the surface, let's be fair. He was brought in to do Collision. Whatever happened in terms of
him and
Riccaboni, or them deciding he wasn't fit for the role, which, look, we thought he was shite, to be fair.
Yeah.
To be fair, he was brought in, signed to a contract, most likely, and then just kicked to the curb.
Yes.
Regardless of what happened. So, look, unlike the, which was the one, the Namath brother, who was like, this guy, a famous actor, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this one probably has a little bit of, like, a case compared to that one.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about it, because it was very stupid, and I don't think he would have gotten very much, but yeah, something more closely, because Riccaboni was slagging him off in public, and then he was very, and then I could see, not that I think he's right, but I could see maybe being able to convince people, the classic jury and judge in a non-wrestling context who don't know that he's shit, because they've no gauge for what is or isn't shit in wrestling. I could maybe see AEW saying we'll just make this go away. And likewise, he also saying, as much as he probably believes Blockbuster, him also saying, I will also happily make this go away, because I doubt it was going to be worth, the juice wouldn't have been worth the squeeze to duke it out with Tony Khan's lawyers, I would imagine.
It was interesting hearing his voice in Dynamite this week as well.
Yes, that was funny, wasn't it? Yeah,
in the Omega Okada clips.
Oh yeah.
I was wondering. I was like, are they going to just? Because that was absolutely his era. I was like, who else are they gonna? Because he would have been making all those. Oh my goodness, the history is made. He was their English language. Michael Cole, JR, whatever your equivalent would want to be. So yeah, he got in there. He got on the broadcast a little bit. But yeah, there you go, the Engine era, and we'll get the update on the Ziggler brother, the American Ricky Dozan, pro wrestling.
Hulk Hogan 2.
Hogan 2 they calls him. Hogan 2 they calls him. We'll get an update on that one any day now. So there you go. We did get I guess it's confirmation, right? We did get the graphic put out basically for John Cena. Have you heard of this guy? He's a guy having a pretty bad television run at the moment. Defending his world championship in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia against one Charles Montgomery Punk. And I know, I obviously I think it is happening, but it's very odd. They seem to be doing an angle where it's like John Cena is a heel for making him go to Saudi Arabia. Seems to be the storyline they're doing.
Yeah, he literally said, "I'm going to turn you into a hypocrite. You have to follow me to Saudi Arabia,"
which is really, because you would kind of think if it was anyone other than KSA, you would say, "Oh, they won't like that. They won't like being described this way." But again, do you remember this is the entity that asked for Yokozuna to be on that first show? So I don't think they're really paying attention and giving a shit to what's being. I don't think they're paying attention.
But I think they recap Raw.
No, I don't think so. MBS is like, pull up the 4-hour file there on Peacock. I must watch it.
So I'll just watch the fucking YouTube highlights.
I'll watch YouTube. Yeah, I'll watch. Yeah, is Live Wire still going?
He's like ever since Raw went to 3 hours. I've just got
yeah. Pull up the Saturday morning show with Jonathan Coachman. I want to see the condensed edition.
To be fair, he likes the chopped up version. So
he's done it. So there you go. So I mean, everyone, everyone's kind of waiting with bated breath to actually see him come out. See him come out. Go on, do your little entrance. Go on, rub the ground. It's clobbering time. Go on, do it. So there you go. I mean, I think that is the. I really think it's the kind of closing the book on that chapter of the how would you even describe it? The righteousness of CM Punk.
CM Punk as a true feeling, at least, counterculture, anti-authority figure.
Yeah.
He went back to Disney. He went back to the biggest paycheck. And look,
skip the first one. Skip the first Saudi. Worth pointing out. Like tried to do it. And I do think the interesting thing about this is, as with a lot of stuff he's done since he's been back there, this is a little bit tinfoil hat, but part of me does like to think that there's a little bit of WWE knowing that he's crawling through the supplicant flap to Monty Burns' office.
Yeah.
And I do think part of it is, hey, I've got one more match with John before he retires. Absolutely, mate. It's happening in Saudi. Oh, what, mate? What was that? There's no problem with that, is there, mate? You don't mind. You want to wrestle John, isn't it?
Well, that is the main event of a PLE.
That's that. But he's retiring in like 8 months, pal. That's the one. That's not a problem, mate. Is it?
That's the only slot we have free. That's the only slot we have.
I'm afraid, pal.
We had to do the tag match of Money in the Bank.
He has to wrestle Ron Killings again. Sorry,
he has to wrestle Andrew 3 more times.
Which is happening, by the way.
Oh, it's happening. Wrestle John in the main event in America. Sorry, mate. No, Ron Killings again. That's not, brother. I don't know why you.
It's like that for the real stars, brother.
That's because the old aircraft.
That's because they had to crawl through the supplicant door for Ron Killings. That's why he gets invented.
Oh, which is great as well. Fucking Nick Khan getting involved. Triple H is such a loser. Triple H is such a goddamn fucking loser. His actual boss had to intervene to get this guy back. That's great.
To get this 53-year-old comedy job.
I cannot wait to see CM Punk lose to John Cena in a 1.5-star match in Riyadh. That's going to really cheer me up.
That's the thing as well, is like, it's not, because obviously I think there's a romanticism of the last CM Punk John Cena match, but based on the recent Cena performances, I mean, after all that romantic, it's going to be crap, isn't it? I mean, there's just I mean, there's nothing there with Cena anymore. Obviously, Punk himself is showing the effects of time, but Punk can still pull it out when he needs to. Cena, I mean, it's over. It's over. We made the comparison already, but it is kind of funny that he and Tanahashi are doing the same year-long retirement tour, and they are forming at about the same level. Except I would actually say that Tanahashi's last match, if it's the right person in there, might actually still be.
And Tanahashi's doing the G1 this year.
Which is insanity. Brother, come on now, Mr. President, sir, please. What is like, unless he's going to be working it like Yano, I don't know.
I was just about to say the 5-minute Yano count-out comedy matches.
Yeah. He's trying to tape people's feet to the ropes. But we will
on Punk. Look,
yeah,
I don't want to say that nobody can ever change, whatever. But when you make such declarative statements publicly as at Mike the Miz, suck the blood money covered dick or whatever.
Yeah.
You kind of gotta expect that could potentially come around, and someone might ask you, well, how does that dick taste, CM Punk?
Yes.
So
I think it is literally that has made this such a notable thing. Because here's the thing: a bunch of the fucking roster objected in 2018 and now go. They all go now. I don't think anyone doesn't go anymore. They all go. Right. So and I mean, it has been normalized, which is the really sad kind of state of affairs. It absolutely has been normalized, but I think it's literally just that he, you know, when it suited him, he got brownie points for highlighting how shitty it was that people were going. You know,
I will say as well that tweet to the Miz was only 5 years ago.
Yeah,
we're not talking about 2011 or 2014 CM Punk here. Like, you know, this was recently.
I'm waiting for the. I'm 50-50 on whether or not there'll be some kind of like sources close to Punk say that the money is going to such and such cause.
Oh, charity.
But I don't think he'll even bother doing that, because even that would be too much of an acknowledgement of you know of hypocrisy. But yeah, there you go. Well, that show is like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I will say, yeah, it is very odd, and I don't know, it's just the acknowledging that it's a. First of all, I don't think they've done in the 6 years of this partnership. I don't think they've ever done a kind of acknowledgement that this is a morally dubious thing. So this being the first time is kind of funny. But part of me thinks there's a chance he won't. Otherwise, like, why would you put your baby face in that slot? But like, they put the graphic out. His promo, I did see the clips of his promo. I mean, they didn't even tease that he would go. So there you go. Anyway. We got the new name for FKA Mariah May. It is in fact not Mariah May, but so they've renamed her, but she is ostensibly doing like the exact same gimmick.
The vignette had a little bit of Tony Storm to it as well, which I wonder was intentional.
Of course.
So what does Blake Monroe and Sky Blue have in common?
Go on.
They're both wrestlers who share names with porn stars.
Ooh.
Wait, really?
Oh, yes.
I'm googling this for research purposes. Blake on, because didn't they? What was the stable name they had years ago? That they announced on all the
sorority sisters or something.
Oh, the submission, submission sorority or submission sisters or something along those lines. How do they keep running into this issue? I don't understand. Like not just for wrestling, but like for fictional character names. Don't you just
for this
Google
one,
this shit before you do it? What the fuck?
I don't know, but for this one, it was apparently like Blake is the name of her niece and Monroe. Marilyn Monroe. She's a blonde bombshell. Again, little close to the bone on the Tony Storm comparison, but whatever. And then, yeah, it just came out in the last few days. Blake Monroe is actually a name that is already taken in another field of entertainment.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm sorry, Google's making me do the fucking click on pictures so we know it's a human. I'm just trying to see Blake Monroe. Oh my god. But like, yeah. So as you said about the kind of the Tony Storm elements, it does seem to me like this is just going to be surface level Mariah May, Tony Storm style act without any of the nuance or like care or like character. Do you know what I mean? Like the vignette they put out with the terrible newspaper that
it was like a Sabrina Carpenter. Oh, you saw the newspaper that took
shitty newspaper
20 seconds to make. It was like a Sabrina Carpenter pastiche, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know, the funny thing with the name is like, okay, probably she was involved. If Blake is her niece's name, she was obviously involved in setting up the name. But it's like, you're bringing in Mariah May. What's Mariah May's like key differentiator to like a Tiffany Stratton or any of the hundreds of likes they have? Is she's English, right?
Yes.
So you give her the most American name, American sounding name possible, Blake Monroe.
It is the most, like basketball player they signed out of college to go to the PC name ever, you know. Brintley St. Bryce, Caden Smith with a Y. I don't know. We did this a few weeks ago when it was confirmed she was showing up. I mean, it was just like, how you don't just play off the fact that she's Mariah May and the people know who Mariah May is. But alas, that's WWE.
It almost seems like they're, like that Vinceism of, oh, you did something somewhere else that doesn't count here, is still a mindset that's carried on.
Yeah.
Even though it benefits them more to bring in a star like Mariah May and be like, this is Mariah May, but she's on our team now. instead of having her like start over for no reason. It almost feels like a kind of college hazing.
Got
deal.
worse, if anything. I mean, maybe just because AEW exists, so there's more stars now. Whereas before, when they were recruiting people from TNA or Ring of Honor, it's like, okay, fair enough. Like, no one knows who the fuck they are anyway. But people know Brame. She could be a big star.
Won the world title in Wembley last year in front of 50,000.
50,000.
Yeah, some of the most like notorious and well liked matches of the year.
One of the first ever women to get 5 stars in an American match.
God, yeah. But no, I guess not. So there you go. We did also have, this is kind of funny though, Hikuleo, who has been in WWE for like how long here? Actually,
A year.
He's been signed a year, and has still not shown up on WWE TV. But he did have now. It's saying he wrestled on Main Event, which has not aired. His match has not aired, so I wouldn't be surprised if just as part of them taping Main Event,
like it was a dark match.
I think that'll end up being a dark
maybe
match, because I think there's no chance. There's no chance the guy doesn't debut not as part of a big angle. But yeah, so he did wrestle one of the Pretty Deadly boys before SmackDown. And I guess, look, we'll keep an eye out. Or not, we won't, I don't give a fuck. But people will keep an eye out on Main Event broadcast to see if that's actually on there or not. But, I mean,
I was talking to somebody about Hikuleo who watches New Japan.
Yeah.
And they were very of the opinion where it's like they've signed them presumably based on he's another Samoan lad, but a really big one. If it's brought in like Jacob Fatu and Jeff Cobb, Jeff Cobb is from Guam.
Yeah.
But it's like you now have big Samoans all over the place, or big island by
Polynesians.
Yeah. And then you've got this fella Hikuleo who is, for people who saw him in New Japan, he's not very good. He's a big guy, as Kevin Nash would say, he's a big guy. And you've had him signed for a year, and presumably they haven't been confident enough to put him on TV yet. So I don't know if there was some buyer's remorse on Hikuleo, and let's see how long it runs.
But that's a situation to watch there. Plus, also, I mean, it feels like he came in at a time when it feels like the bloodline is cooling, and as you said, they've already had like a recent debut guy in Jacob Goff fans.
Yes.
So I feel like if this guy does come in that part of the card, I mean, he's instantly kind of relegated to. He's going to struggle to break out, but we'll see.
I mean, the thing is, the bloodline is like a mid-card act now.
Yes.
Yeah. The bloodline is not the bloodline anymore.
NWO Black and White.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's genuine. Yeah, it's NWO
Millionaire Club,
because it's going on for years. It's quietly moved in the card, and it's just more kind of splitting off and mini factions, and it'll be Bullet Club soon enough. So there you go. Okay, I think that's it for our wrestling news. Before we jump into another 4-hour block of Dynamite, what is the Fantasy League update for the week?
We did have another 5-star match on Dynamite this week. We did.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you did, Barry. Yeah.
Well, I had one half of it. It was first.
Spring.
With the 5 points each there. Otherwise, it was a pretty standard summer blockbuster. Toni Storm is 1 point off the big 100. She'll be the first to cross the 100 mark this year. Osprey on 88. Takeshita on 27. Note, Takeshita is doing the G1 this year, so Takeshita will be disappearing off AWTV for a month or so. He is the number 3 guy in the fantasy league currently. Then we have Bobby Lashley. Paris Hobbs, who Joe just brought in, didn't wrestle on Summer Blockbuster, unfortunately. But I think he's booked for a match for this coming week, so he'll be knocking the points in. Mercedes obviously is booked as well on the Mexico show. A lot of the people who have been drafted are on that Mexico show, so we'll see how that goes. And then of course we're getting closer and closer to All In, which, keep in mind, All In is triple points. That's the biggest show of the year. So let's see how that goes. But Barry scored an 18. I had a 16. Those are both obviously 5-point boosted. Joe only had a 4 with Mark Briscoe, Danny Garcia, and Kyle O'Reilly, unfortunately, both. But there we go. That's the Fantasy League update for this week.
Alrighty.
This is the end of the run of 4-hour shows as well, right? We're back to normal Dynamite Collision.
Yes.
So that should mean that you might see people on both shows, whereas these 4 hours, that's not really happening. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Alrighty then. We got a lot of good feedback
On
this week on Joe's
Title history
segment. So I thought I might do the same and go through and pick out my favorite titles, and we could do another little bracket. Obviously, Joe's already picked out 16, so I have not chosen any of the ones that we've already done.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that these are better. Obviously, Joe picked some of the all-time greats.
Joe picked some great ones, yeah.
So I've tried to pick 16 others. So this is our B bracket, let's call it, okay? So similarly, I've pulled up notebook.lm to figure out the origin of some of these names. The only thing that I didn't realize is that then it doesn't necessarily save your question. So I will need to ask it again for some of these. Okay, so we will start with episode 313, Jinder Mahal the Way.
Okay, that's surely I don't know, I can't do the maths in my head of the timeline, but surely that's them going all the way with Jinder and him winning the world championship.
I thought it was Jingle All the Way.
Oh, I could be right. It could be a Christmas episode.
But
I could.
Jinder, something to do with Jinder.
Again, yeah, I can't do the maths in my head of that.
Well, I'll tell you, this episode came out in the summer of, I want to say it was around 2016.
Jinder winning the belt then, yeah.
It should have been him winning the belt, I'd imagine, yeah.
But we reference Jingle All the Way just because we like Jingle All the Way.
Oh, every single week on the show, yeah.
If you can't get it in.
Yeah. So the provided source material does not state that this episode is called Jinder Mahal the Way. However, the hosts of the podcast frequently discuss the movie Jingle All the Way through the episode.
Yeah.
They mentioned it multiple times, joking about having discussed it more than even an official Jingle All the Way podcast.
Which sadly does not exist, I don't think.
The discussion about Jingle All the Way is pervasive despite it not being seasonal, as they mention watching it at the end of July. There is no mention of Jinder Mahal at all within the provided text.
Okay. Classic boss.
Purely a Jingle All the Way pun. Jinder Mahal the Way, which I thought was very good. And then we have our most recent episode. Oh, no, we don't. It's not even the most recent episode. Episode 681.
Oh.
681, which is called Listen Up, You Little Freaks.
Listen up, you little freaks.
Okay, that's the Simpsons guy.
What's that?
But I'm trying to think what was the rest of the context of us.
Is that like AEW needs to bring him in or something like that?
yeah.
Just to keep people in line.
Yeah, what was it? Was it the roster we were talking about?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
So yeah, it was like Tony needs a right hand man to come in and be like,
yeah. I think that was it.
Get people in order.
Was that it, Paul?
It was not. You're correct that was on another episode.
Oh,
that was not the correct one here. So episode 681 was called "Listen Up, You Little Freaks," due to host Paul recounting an incident at a can recycling machine in Ireland. A child who Paul estimates to be around 10 years old repeatedly approached him asking for his cans. Paul eventually became annoyed and told the child, piss off away from me, you little freak, little urchin.
Urchin is a great one.
God.
Paul expresses his general frustration with cocky children who feel like they can just talk to you and be all bold about it. He later jokingly envisions the child as a TikTok voice content creator, documenting the encounter, with Paul telling him, get away, you little freak.
Okay, wow, we were way off. Wow.
So I think the reference was the Simpsons thing, but that was the origin. So are we going, Jinder Mahal the Way or Listen Up, You Little Freaks?
Well, I mean, the first one is punny, which we love, and it references Jingle All the Way. I think that's our winner.
It's got to be Jinder for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
On Jinder, so Jinder Mahal the Way. Very good. Next up, then we're going episode 481. Little Milk Miranda.
Okay.
Little Milk Miranda.
Okay.
You remember what this title was?
Was it no? It would be too early for a large language model reference there. Also, that'd be LLM, not LLM. Absolutely no clue whatsoever.
Milk Miranda.
I don't remember that.
No, I'm drawing a blank. I have no idea on that one.
I'll give you a clue. This is an episode after I'd watched the Hamilton musical on Disney
okay.
Plus.
Lin-Manuel.
Lin. Right.
Now, where the milk comes in, I don't know. But
He's a little milk boy.
Correct. During a discussion about the musical Hamilton, its creator Lin-Manuel Miranda, one of the hosts, Paul, describes Miranda as a little nerdy boy, a little milk boy, if you will. I think we were talking about how that kind of suited that kind of role. That you and Joe, you mentioned you had seen a version of Hamilton where it wasn't played by Lin-Manuel, and it kind of was someone a bit more confident, a bit more, and it didn't kind of like it suits the character to be a little nerdy, milky, if you will. So that's Little Milk Miranda. Okay, because he's a little milk boy, and then 6. I still don't know what that really means. Like,
no,
is he slightly like calcium deficient?
Yeah, like a little
loser who drinks the school milk. I don't know.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen Hamilton, by the way. So
shit.
Oh, Hamilton's very good.
I don't know who to believe. Go on anyway.
I like it. And then episode 647, Hard Cut to Knobs.
That was a word, marble mouth. Cutting to Hobbs, I'm sure.
No. So I nearly included this one.
Oh, so this was
this was Paul talking about. I was in Brutus the Beefcake on thingy,
Dark Side of the
Ring, and Paul was talking about Brutus the Beefcake reinvented himself, and he compares himself to Chris Jericho, and then Paul said, "Hard cut to knobs." Laughing his ass off at this suggestion.
That's correct. He compared himself to a great actor like Mel Gibson. Immediately after he makes this comparison, the documentary Hard Cut to Brian Knobs, who was shown pissing himself laughing during this anecdote.
So we didn't laugh at that at the time, but it made me laugh when you said Hard Cut to Knobs, because I was like,
Hard Cut to Knobs is funny pun as well. Okay, are we going Little Milk Miranda or Hard Cut to Knobs?
I like Hard Cut.
I quite like Little Milk Miranda because it's so weird, but in context, it's funny.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Little Milk as well because again, it's got that CSP weirdness to it that I
do like Hard Cut to Knobs. It's a tough one.
I like Hard Cut to Knobs is like a funnier actual, like the clip from the show was actually funnier.
Yeah,
but as an episode title, okay. Next up, we've got episode 220, Ron the Tooth Fillings.
Very good. Very relevant as well. Very good. That must be, I'm going to say, was it you, Paul, getting a tooth?
Yeah. It's usually Paul, the dentist.
It actually wasn't in this case.
Is it me?
It was Joe.
I did get filling earlier.
Yeah, this was... an infected, erupted wisdom tooth.
Oh, God almighty.
That
sounds like fucking hell.
Yeah. So he was on antibiotics for the issue. We talked about also the fact that I would go to the dentist and they would sit you down and take an x-ray and charge you €120.
Yeah.
Right, are we going to do the tooth now? And they said, no, you have to come back. And
come back and that'll be another 80 quid just for the consultation. Yeah. Brilliant.
Just don't go to the dentist. That's the official CSP advice.
I know.
Yeah. So that's Ron the Tooth Fillings, which I think is a really strong pun as well. But it's going up against a classic. Episode 21.
Wow.
Too Many Almonds.
Oh, now this is one we famously are terrible at remembering the inside jokes on this show. This is one I do remember because this is like a really there was I do remember this. So this was early days Hogan Bischoff TNA, and of course it had descended into Fourth Wall, We're Shooting Brother, power of this company. You don't know what you're doing with this company. This company fucking sucks, and it's because of you, which is always great. Kevin Nash was like booked as the wise man who saw through all the bollocks and all the bullshit of the politics behind that curtain. And he talks about everyone was trying to figure out who put the turd in the punch bowl, I believe was the euphemism he used.
Yeah.
And the line he chose to go with was, I can't remember if it was Jeff Jarrett or Hogan. He says
it was Jeff. It was Jeff.
He goes, "Did you eat a lot of almonds?" Which got a go get your scissors level reaction from the impact zone with no clue. The joke trying to be that I can tell it's your turd based on the contents of said turd and your diet. A dreadful joke, absolutely dreadful stuff altogether. And I believe the too many there was because the big meme in general in wrestling at the time was the too many limes, Sheamus.
Yes.
That one I remember. Yeah, that's classic stuff. That's classic bad TNA stuff there.
Yeah, but you know a lot of almonds, Jeff.
Just like to say all this stuff, no one's reacting. No one knows who's a face, who's a heel, what he's talking about, why he's talking about almonds. This is a hard one because that's iconic. But I mean, the tooth fillings is a really good pun. I don't know, Joe. What do you think?
I think Ron the tooth fillings.
I'm going to go Ron the tooth as well.
Good. Okay,
the same reason as before. I think the too many almonds is like an iconic bit, but we're judging the titles.
You know what? That's perfectly fair.
But too many almonds, I do love, and I'll always have a spot for it.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, we've got episode 319, Twat Striker.
Right, that must be self-explanatory. I mean, was fired or had a meltdown or...
Matt Striker, yeah, he's a twat.
Was it, I'm trying to think, was there a specific thing, like... He did. There was one of the Triple Manias he did where he was ranting about politics all night.
It was a specific Lucha Underground episode. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be able to remember which specific one, but I mean, he was always saying terrible things. Not terrible things, but he was always saying things, annoying things.
I believe it was the what was the name of it? The war match between Killshot and
AR Fox.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
Paul criticizes Striker's commentary as being beyond parody and for taking the piss out of the match. Highlights Striker's use of fucking war puns and war references and war jokes.
Yeah,
horrible. They made it impossible to take the main event match seriously, especially when combined with the stupid and military themed gimmick. Striker's commentary indicated a lack of seriousness and professionalism, indulging himself on air rather than providing appropriate insight for the audience, and also pointed out Striker's thin-skinned reaction to criticism of his commentary, noting that he dismissed the feedback by saying, "Oh, don't take it so seriously, it's wrestling."
Yeah, which was annoying because like Lucha Underground took itself very seriously. That was kind of the appeal of it. It was that it was doing this campy stuff, but these characters were like taking it at face value. Okay, that makes sense.
We were not big Matt Striker fans.
No, of course not. No.
This one. And that's up against episode 103, Prawn Michaels.
Prawn.
Now, yeah, I do remember. Now, of course, there was the infamous Prawn Michaels shirt.
The sticker.
Paul, or with the sticker it was, yeah, where Paul, you set it up on Redbubble, and it was just a very hastily chopped together a prawn over like a copyrighted image that World Wrestling Entertainment owned, wow. Obviously they must have, it must be some kind of like a computer detecting that stuff. It certainly wasn't that millions we got off of that sticker that set off their alarm. But, I remember that whole incident. I actually don't remember what the pun was born.
Yeah, I have no idea what the actual.
Was he twisted? Was he a submission twisted into funny shape? I don't know. I'm completely drawing a blank on that.
Okay, the episode's titled Prawn Michaels after a listener named Prawn Michaels whose email was read during the show.
Oh, very good. Okay,
the email began itself with a notably unusual humorous line: "I'm a wrestler stuck in the body of a prawn."
Okay. I hope he got out, or maybe like the Hollywood ending to that story would be he learns to be content within the body of the prawn.
As a prawn.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go Prawn Michaels on this one.
Yeah, it's got to be prawn.
I like prawn.
Okay. Next up, we got 323 Smashing Injunctions.
Oh, so Smashing Pumpkins pun.
Oh, yes.
Was it a at Billy TNA legal situation?
Yes, I think you might be right.
Was it Dixie he had the legal fight with about ownership of the company, or was it someone else?
That's a good question. I'm trying to get a few more details.
While Paul looks that up, the at one point at Billy was brought in of the Smashing Pumpkins and now of the NWA. One time,
yes, Billy Corgan and Dixie Carter.
Yeah, so he was brought in as a financier at TVK when Hunt television character, and this was a period where this was TNA's sliding down into increasingly obscure, shitty television networks you've never heard of, but also pre-streaming being an option. It was like 10 years ago at this stage. This was real. I know it was like a meme. This was real. Like, this might be it. This might be it for TNA finally. Like they're. And so the company was in a horrible state. The Carters wanted out. And I think Billy, I can't remember, he thought he had some kind of legal entitlement, like first right of refusal to buy it, I believe it was.
Yes.
Right. And because of the money he invested, and Carter was like, no, we gave you no such thing. And I think she ended up being correct because Anthem, of course, eventually got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of TNA legal stuff on this one. Public filings indicated that TNA owed millions to talent and production people. The state of Tennessee was suing them for taxes. There was a dispute where Dixie Carter, one of the owners, may have been disingenuous in an implication she made about wanting to sell the company to Billy Corgan, who had been bankrolling the company with the expectation of ownership, which evidently was not going to happen, leading to a deadlocked situation. The overall situation of TNA is described as complete shambles, with the company being on their last legs due to an insurmountable money situation, which obviously they are still going. They said it wouldn't last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that period though, that was. Because that was like many years ago at this stage. But even then, it was kind of like everyone talked about them like they were like, the cockroach wrestling, like they should have died 100 times. But that was really kind of like you were waiting for any day now for the next tweet you see on your timeline. Like, that's it, it's over.
Right. Smashing Injunctions, as Joe said, also a good pun.
Good pun. Yeah,
good pun. But it's up against 239. Big Rick got turned on. Yeah.
Was that the former Ezekiel Jackson? He was Big Rick in one of our early faves in Lucha Underground, I recall.
Yes,
and did his lackeys turned on him at one point. And we said
they grabbed his cigar and stuck it in his eye.
Oh, great angle.
What a night.
Yeah. And of course, as we were running through it, we did say Big Rick got turned on and then realized the double entendre.
In our crashing mature, realized,
he got turned on. Why? Was he into having cigars put out on his eye? Look, we're not going to kink shame Big Rick here.
No.
So are we going Smashing Injunctions or Big Rick got turned on?
I like Smashing Injunctions.
Smashing Injunctions is quite good, yeah.
Smashing Injunctions. And now we've got the most recent episode and the oldest episode. We're going to start with episode 692.
Wow.
Seth freaking Ears Rollins. Which was a great name and a great artwork.
Yes, good artwork, yeah.
So what was... we know that it's Seth freaking Rollins, and we know that it's my freaking ears.
Were we
greater
with his like renewed push? Were we talking about him like Flanders? And I'm trying to think, like, just because obviously he won at Mania, so I'm trying to think, were we complaining about how we just don't think cool or anything like that?
We were doing the what's the quiz where you give an answer, and if I have it written down, you get a point or don't. I forget what the name of that quiz is.
Oh, Tenables? Perfect Tenables?
Well, no, because it's just, I ask you, like, name a wrestler, and then I have one written down, and you name one, and if you match me, you don't get a point. Whatever it's called, whatever that quiz is called, we were playing that. And during the segment, the host asked the participants to name any currently active wrestler. Joe provided Seth Rollins as his answer, and in response, one of the hosts exclaimed, "Ow, my freaking ears!" And then immediately followed with Seth freaking Ears Rollins, which was just a really a playful and memorable ad-lib, as described by notebook.
Thanks, notebook.
Very kind. And that's going up against episode 13. Cole Briner's No Love Smash.
Okay, so this must be Coal Miner's glove match is the classic wrestling reference.
Yeah.
With the Michael Cole, Daniel Bryan thing from early NXT.
Yeah.
Their feud.
Yes, that's basically it.
Yeah.
Right.
The host expressed a desire for a match between the two, and the suggested name is a playful, cringeworthy pun. Hang on.
Wait a minute, notebook. Hang on now, brother. Whoa, brother. Easy now.
Pun on Michael Cole's name and the phrase Coal Miner's glove, also Brian's.
Yes.
There you go. I actually listened to this clip as well, and it was really, really one where I kind of stopped the show to be like, hey guys, I got a pun here. Hold on a second while I try and get this out. It did not go down well at the time, but let's see.
No.
Seth freaking Ears Rollins or Cole Briner's No Love Smash.
Well, I mean, I love freaking ears.
I love freaking Ears too.
Yeah, I got that.
I love freaking Ears too. Okay. We're going to go to episode 420, Belly and Shook. That's SOOK.
Yes.
Billy and Chuck reference, obviously, but
Yes.
Okay.
No, drawing a blank.
This is one of the funnier explanations when I read it. Because it's, I mean, if you liked last week, he heard him ding ding. This is kind of in that ballpark. So the episode is titled Belly and Shook. Two separate references to things that were talked about during the podcast. Belly or tummy refers to a recurring humorous observation about wrestlers from heavy machinery, particularly Otis.
Oh yeah,
One of the hosts mentioned taking to saying cute tummies when Otis came out with his big tummy hanging out.
yes, it is a cute tummy.
That was so as I said last week with Ding Ding. When Hurt Syndicate come out now, I sing they hurt people's ding dings because I'm still a child, obviously. But yeah, back then when heavy machinery come out, their bellies be out. I'd be like, oh, here come the boys with their cute tummies. Shook is used in reference to people appearing unwell or frail. One of the hosts described Vince McMahon as looking awful shook.
Yes, because he's looked like shit for about 20 years now. Yeah, yeah, okay.
So we had bellies, and we had, I think the phrase was fierce shook looking.
Fierce shook looking. Yeah, that's a very Irish phrase. Yeah,
A very Irish phrase. So Belly and Shook 420 going up against episode 113, The Gunder Breaker.
The Gunder Breaker. The gun.
No idea.
What? Wait, what episode number?
113.
Oh, Gunder Breaker.
So like
Is it
3 years in?
What was Gunder Breaker?
This would have been 2013, 2012,
What was it?
2013.
Was it Gunner? Like from TNA?
Oh, very good. I was trying to think what are the things in Phantom Menace called? The Gungas.
The Gungans.
No, I don't know.
The story of the water pistol involves Paul Griffin. Accused by Joe and implied by Barry of savagely breaking a small child's legs and forcibly taking a water pistol from a young girl. According to Joe's version, Paul Griffin left work and was walking home and spied some young children enjoying the pleasant summer weather. One of these children had a water pistol toy. Joe claims that Mr. Griffin approached one of these children, forcibly took the water pistol from the young girl's
Testimony in
hands.
court. The witness described Mr. Griffin as about 6 foot tall and aggressive in demeanor.
And proceeded to smash the girl in several pieces in an incredibly violent manner. Joe estimates the girl was like 11, 12, or possibly 9. Well, Paul is this year's 11. Joe further states that Paul did not apologize, offer to buy a new one, or show remorse, but instead strode away very quickly, implying he fled the scene. Paul offers his own explanation of the incident. He was having a bad day of work due to a long, unresolved call with a mean man, and later a brainless idiot woman. That's the quote. He worked an extra hour without pay, making his workday 10 hours long. While walking home, listening to a podcast, and still in a, quote, bad mood, he saw a group of youths or hoodlums come out of a shop, all carrying water pistols. Paul thought to himself, if one of these points a pistol at me, I'm going to go absolutely mad. As he was passing them, one girl sticks the water pistol right up in my face, within a foot of his face, which he considered somewhat threatening. He was not fearing for my life, but anticipated being squirted. Therefore, he preemptively took the water pistol from her possession, held it high above my head, and threw it as hard as I could at the floor, and it cracked. There you go. So that's the story of... Oh, hang on, there's a good amendment here. He then stopped at the chipper for chips to calm down.
To celebrate.
It's sorry, it keeps going. Paul denies putting the girl in a wheelchair. Barry refers to Paul's action as property damage, criminal damage to property. Paul dismisses the value of the water pistol, saying it probably cost about 50 cents. Paul also claims to be a victim here. Oh my god, this just keeps going. Okay, anyway, that's
yeah, it's that one. It's that one. I think that's a classic, but I also think that is a better title. That is a better title, I think. Than
Underbreaker.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep Underbreaker. Yeah. And then our last first round one here, we've got episode 243, the self-diagnosis of CM Punk.
What episode was that?
243.
It's quite early.
That must be his going to their doctors and saying he has that thing on his back.
This is the podcast.
The podcast, yeah, the Colt Cabana thing.
The baseball size lump on his ass.
On his ass, yeah.
Which didn't
exist.
And
of course, this is a pun also on the famous WWE DVD release, Self-Destruction.
Oh,
of the
yeah.
Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, very good. Yes, yeah. Okay, yeah, Self-Destruction of Ultimate Warrior, yeah. Very good, okay.
So that's Self-Diagnosis of CM Punk, and that is up against episode 68, Jinder, I Want a Banana.
Oh.
Now, I have zero recollection. Are you gonna? This has been like a years-long running bit that we do not remember what this was. So I think I've always maintained. I believe it was some kind of Kali mouth marble moment. But we famously can never remember what this joke was.
You are correct.
Okay, I knew it.
Well, it was related to the Simpsons episode, right?
No.
Oh. Well, I've been thinking that all this years.
So we've been talking on and off for years and years and years about, we don't remember the origin of Jinder, I Want a Banana. I have found the exact episode. And I have the clip here as well.
Okay.
So obviously the audio is not going to be great. I'm going to play.
It's going to be really bad, but apologize here.
But bear with me, folks. And what I'll try and do is I'll try and clean up a little bit and edit it as best I can.
Okay, you'll put it in post
into the episode, but I'm going to play it for the boys here. I will give just the context first. So it was a match between Ezekiel Jackson and the Great Khali, and Ezekiel Jackson hoists him up into the torture rack. Not a very convincing torture rack, as you'll hear on the clip. As he has him up in the torture rack, Jinder Mahal, it's Great Khali. Great Khali, Jinder Mahal's at ringside because he was managing Great Khali.
Yes, that was it.
Khali is saying something, you can't quite make it out. He's, whatever. And we just start saying what he was saying was that he wanted a banana, I guess.
Okay.
So here's the actual clip all the way back from episode 68, which would have been like 2011.
Speaking of treats, Ezekiel Jackson and the Great Khali had a match.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, what's that idea?
Just so he could put him in the torture rack.
Yeah, that was pretty good, actually.
That's the whole point of it.
They walloped each other for a bit, and then Zeke won with the torture rack, but he couldn't do it properly because he's too big, so he just sort of held him up there.
Khali's selling was so poor.
It sort of looked like when one player jumps on another after they've scored a goal. He sort of hopped him up, like, yeah, we won. It was a bit like that.
Khali, he wasn't so much selling as he just looked dizzy and sort of uncomfortable. Then he was off the ground. He was like, I want to get off.
I want to go home. I want banana.
There it is.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
Jinder, I want a banana.
There you go. So Joe is the one who said it.
Joe is the one who said it, which I think has been a quiz question in the past.
There you go. There's the clip.
So so it's ginger. I want a banana. What's the other option?
The other option was
the self-diagnosis.
Self-diagnosis of CM Punk.
I think after all that, I think self-diagnosis is a better, more clever pun.
Yes. Yeah. This was partially me just wanting to reveal that I had found the gender.
Well done, because that is also the go-to reference for whenever we're talking about us never remembering any bits or where jokes stem from. But there you go.
That was like 630 episodes ago. It was like really early, episode 68.
And to answer your question, folks, we did used to just like watch Raw and SmackDown and ECW and watch them all. That was unlistenable rubbish
as well.
But we'll go Punk on that one.
We'll go Punk on that one.
Let's go Punk.
Okay. So now we're into the round of 8 here. We have Little Milk Miranda and Jinder Mahal the way.
Oh, Jinder Mahal the way.
I will say Jinder Mahal the way is a great pun.
I like
because it works on two words.
I'm going to go Jinder Mahal the way.
I am going Jinder as well. Yeah,
Jinder it is. I mean, Jinder gets through anyway. Even if we let I Want a Banana go, still qualifies there. We've then got Smashing Injunctions and Prawn Michaels.
Oh.
Two very good puns.
I'm leaning Injunctions on that one.
Yeah, me also. I think it's
Smashing Injunctions.
Yeah.
Very good. We've got the Gunderbreaker and Seth freaking Ears Rollins.
Oh God, that's really hard.
I go Seth.
I'm picking Seth as well. Yeah, wow.
Freaking Ears, freaking. Okay, and then last one is Ron the Tooth Fillings and Self-Diagnosis of Punk.
This is a good
Ron the Tooth Killings. Ron the Tooth Fillings.
I love Tooth Fillings.
I love the Warrior DVD reference. That's a tough one to beat for me.
The Warrior DVD reference, like they hit a little gem behind.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'll go that Punk.
Yeah, we'll go Punk on this one.
We'll go Punk. Okay. Semi-finals. We only got 4 left. We got Freaking Ears and Smashing Injunctions.
What a match! Oh God. Oh. I'll go Freaking Ears.
Joe.
Yeah, Freaking Ears.
Freaking goes through. And then we've got Self-Diagnosis of CM Punk, Jinder Mahal the way.
Oh.
I think Punk.
I think Jinder.
Oh, it's a 4.
I think I might go Punk as well.
Oh, very tough. Very tough bracket.
I do just love, like I said, I love that underlying reference. Jinder Mahal is on the surface a better pun, but contextually and everything, I think Self-Diagnosis of CM Punk is really, really strong. Which comes to the final, Seth Freaking Ears Rollins and Self-Diagnosis of CM Punk. I'll say I think I'm going to go Punk on that one.
Oh, that's really hard. I think I'm going to go Freaking Ears.
Oh,
Joe.
Ears Rollins. See, that's got the Simpsons reference.
Yeah,
that's true.
Which is a classic CSP,
But football to CM Punk's groin has football in the groin. Baseball in the groin. Baseball size lump in the groin. I'll go with Self-Diagnosis of CM.
Okay, Self-Diagnosis.
Self-Diagnosis wins. Very good type. A very good type.
Well, can I give you guys my honorable mentions as well?
Yes, go on.
I don't think we'll do another brag. I think we've covered all of it. Let me give you my... I've got a couple honorary mentions. You can, if you have any comments, you can throw them out. I won't say the episode number, okay?
Yeah, we'll go through these, yeah.
Todd Departon.
Todd Martin, even the Observer. Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Some of these have no. We don't know what, like Jobber the Hood.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I like that.
Jobber is good. Braun the Sheep. Again, these are just ones that made
Sean the Sheep, but Braun Strowman.
Easter Fired.
Easter
Fired.
Very good. We love a pun.
I guess that was Easter and
it's Easter Fired.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah.
Suicide's Quad.
Okay, yeah.
Isn't someone turning as
The rest of
Suicide get injured. I don't know. Apollo Snooze.
Okay, yeah. Apollo Crews.
it's just boring.
Yeah. CM Debunked.
No.
All right, yeah. When he
Fashion-
said he wouldn't go to Saudi Arabia, yeah, go on.
Fashion Police and Where to Find Them. That's
Okay, very good.
a Harry Potter reference there. Never mind that shit. Here comes manga.
Okay, that's odd. 'Cause we
Manga.
never talk about manga, but interesting, yeah.
No. The Big Daddy of them all.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Talking about Mr. Shirley.
Surely in WrestleMania terms, that was episode 430. That would have been the reference to. Florence Pug.
Okay, reference as far as Pew, yeah.
Flamin' Joe.
Yeah.
The Fabulous Moolah. So that was about the World Cup, I think.
Yeah.
Drop Toho.
There you go.
Toho is the Godzilla company. Salvador Barry, which I liked. Right? Das ist die Wandbruder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very good. Yeah,
I
of
don't
course.
know why we translated that into German, but okay. Guff Bagwell, I think is just about didn't make it.
Yeah.
The Big Bus Man.
Mm-hmm.
Blob Holly.
Mm-hmm.
That was in reference to the chap Batista fought. In his
Oh,
own
yeah,
match.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like Blob Holly. Blob Holly. WWE Network. Remember that first week of the network?
Oh, yeah.
Bladder Match, which I think is a great name for like a piss break match that we should try and get.
Yes, we should bring that
Bladder
back.
match.
Bring that back. Yeah.
Joe, get onto Reddit and try to get that viral, okay? We don't call them piss break matches anymore. They're bladder matches.
Yeah. Just try and work it like sneakily into conversation like it's a natural thing you just came up with.
Yeah.
The next time there's a thread about that type of match. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. More like bladder match, am I right? And then the last two, we've got the Godmother, which I remember was a very funny bit where we're talking about Adam Sandler making a fourth Godfather.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a fucking godmother. And then the last one, I didn't realize we actually used this reference twice. I don't think it's quite as good as the one that won the bracket last week, but episode 202 was called "You Should Have Stayed at the Party, Max Moon."
God, we love that reference.
Which I think is also good. It also works.
It is very good. It's a very versatile reference, you know.
It is. So it's got the max bit. It's got the right number of syllables. But I think vaccine probably just takes it over Max Moon. I don't know. That might have been the week I called Conan. I don't know.
Amazing. Yeah.
You should have stayed at the party, Max Moon. Imagine Conan just walking into that scene. Why'd you hit Emily Bishop on the head? That's our bracket. So congratulations to our winners, staying at the party, vaccine, and self-diagnosis.
Well done. Two great entries. And thank you very much, Paul, for that tremendous bracket. We move on now to another 4 hours of AEW action. We might breeze through this.
I'm happy that it's over now.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. This show was a breeze. It absolutely flew by. But when we watch Dynamite this coming weekend, it's 2 hours. It's going to fly by, and it's going to feel like, oh, thank God.
Yes, yeah. Like as far as 4 hour shows go, I think we said this last week. This one was. I skipped a lot of this. I for whatever reason, I knew that I heard there was some good stuff on this. I was very choosy about what I watched on the show. I will put my hands up. It did open with, of course, Swerve versus Ospreay going to a time limit draw.
5 1/4 stars.
5 1/4 star. That was it was really fantastic. It was one of the better matches of the year so far, I think. Which is tough to do when you're going to a draw. You know what I mean? Because the draw is inherently disappointing. But it was great. I really loved it.
Agree. I do think if I was to really, really, really nitpick. Okay, first of all, a couple of nitpicks on the show. Number one, before we even got to the match, the intro graphics for Summer Blockbuster. Did they get the Mariah May newspaper guy on this? 'Cause the explosion effects and the helicopter effects were
they're not great.
stuff you would see in Best of the Worst. Like absolutely horrific looking. Like just don't even bother if it's going to look like that. And then with regards to the time limit draws, just say at the start of the match it's got a 30-minute limit. I don't think we need the commentators to go, hang on a second, we've only got 2 minutes left here. We're running out of time. I get that in a real sport they would, right? If they'd be looking at the clock, but once they start talking about it in the context of a wrestling match, they never do it unless it's going to be a draw.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a handful of exceptions, but typically that topic never comes up unless you're going to draw. So you're basically telling the audience 2 minutes before the end of the match, we're going for a draw here. That's what's happening. So maybe just don't try one time. Just like the commentators don't mention the time limit at all. The match just goes, and then the bell rings, and oh my god, we're out of time.
Yeah, but also early in the company's history, they did the New Japan thing of doing the calls every 5 minutes.
Even that's fine, but you have to be consistent.
Exactly, that's my point. Yeah, it's like do one or the other. Because they just do it in New Japan style. They don't have Robert screaming it over the house mic. You can just barely hear it. So it's I to be honest, I would rather they did that. I actually liked that early on when they were doing that.
I agree.
But alas, yeah, it's a shame. They've kind of gotten away from some of that detail-oriented stuff, unfortunately. But there you go. Death Riders and the Bucks came out afterwards to pick the bones. I had a little bit of a nitpick here. So the Bucks handcuff Swerve to the corner. They get out the thumbtack-covered shoe. They go to kick him in the face. Ospreay dives in front of Swerve. That looked really good on TV. He nailed the timing of that.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, the Bucks like, oh, what a mess. Oh, this has kind of gotten out of hand. Let's leave. Why?
Yeah,
we'll just kick him again. The first guy's dead. The first guy who you also don't like anyway. So that was a bit cheesy, a bit corny. I thought that aspect.
Yes, I think you have to have someone. Once Ospreay's taken the bullet, that's where you have
a baby
one or
face.
two of the other baby faces come into the ring. Then so it's like they only had the time to get one shot off before people came in, and Ospreay took the bullet. You can still do that, but you need to have had Mark Briscoe and Speedball all slide in, timing wise immediately after that first kick, so that the Young Bucks then powder out. You're right. There was no sense for Young Bucks to just back off then.
We had a little red herring segment here where Don Callis interrupted Okada and teased that they were going to jump him or whatever. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
We got the aforementioned Hurt Syndicate taking out Komander segment. Mystico beat Blake Christian in a fairly straightforward match. MJF came out with the Hurt Syndicate doing this whole MJF thing, sarcastically congratulating him, blah, 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 saying they were having a match at Grand Slam Mexico next week. MJF dropped a big American flag from the roof. And MJF ended the segment by calling him Sin Cara, basically, which was, a cute line, I suppose.
Yeah, it was like, don't say the quite.
What, that the heels are Americans?
I was going to call him Sin Cara. The Mystico is not really that good.
Really? Well, I don't know if he's not that good. He's not.
I mean, in a world where you've got Phoenixes and Commanders and Mascara Doradas, I mean, Mystico, who is the generation before, feels like a generation before.
Well, yeah, he is. Yeah,
quite as spectacular, quite as crazy good.
Yeah,
don't say it. Don't say that he's not as good. Don't say that he was shit as Sin Cara, which he was.
I'm kind of assuming a Mystico wins, which is probably why MJF was going so hard on him.
Possibly, but why do you put him over MJF of all people?
Because I guess I guess they wanted to beat someone of some substance, rather than
it seems weird to me though. The guy who wrestles twice a year because he's too much of a star.
Yeah, I don't know. It is odd.
But then, what does MJF? Surely can't beat Mystico in Mexico, right?
No, that would be crazy. Especially he has 2 matches a year. and he's doing an angle which really does not require him to win and beat pushed stars. But that segued into the Hurt Syndicate versus Bailey, Kevin Knight, and Mascara Dorada. I didn't watch this. I assumed it was fun.
Dorada is so good. Young Dorada 2, or whatever he used to be called. He is tremendous. And then they ripped the mask off him and his face was there on TV.
Yeah, that was. I saw the clip.
Go to the wide shot, brother. Quick.
They did blur it on all their socials. It's that classic thing of it was out there for a second.
How long until Penta does that VTV, say? Or will they let him at all?
What?
Penta used to do every 3 weeks. He would do his mask got tied to the
the tied thing specifically. I thought you were.
Or he's wrestling someone and they whip his mask off and roll him up. He used to have his mask taken off every couple of weeks.
Yes, that's what I thought you meant, like the mask thing coming off specifically. I feel like they're very protective of that in WWE.
Rightfully so. There's once a year, that's fine. Penta was doing it.
Penta was doing it all the time, yeah. We got the Death Riders bringing out like a bound and gag Hangman Adam Page to talk some shit and threaten him and all that other stuff. Hangman headbutted Moxley while restrained, which was cool. But the Death Riders beat the shit out of him. The Ops ran out for the thing, and they freed Hangman, who cut his little promo.
Yeah, I like this because we had kind of a through line of the whole episode where we had Hangman arrived at the beginning and Moxley, the Death Riders, kind of followed after him. That's obviously when they caught him and bound them. Then he was freed here and he said, he grabbed the chair and said, I'm going to chase after you. And then later in the show, he kind of came back to it again. They had a bit where Claudio put a chair on Hangman's head and was going to jump on it. Kind of Moxley held him off, which they didn't really point out specifically.
Maybe they're going to do the thing where Moxley's like, I want to beat him so I can definitively end this whole thing. TJ versus Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. How was that?
Yeah.
All right.
good noise.
Yeah.
I thought Tay looked okay, given that this is her first match in years.
Megan Bayne should be doing something a bit more interesting than this.
Yeah.
I think, but yeah, it was fine.
Especially since the write-up here on AEW's website to say that she had more teased tensions with Anna Jay after the match. I don't know how much more is there in that feud, but alas.
No.
Then we got to the main event segment of the Dynamite section here, which was Omega versus Okada contract signing. They did play the video package, which was spectacular. I thought it was a great recap. Then, kind of confirming the speculation, it opened with Tony Schiavone revealing the AEW Unified Championship. So this is, in fact, a title-for-title match, and it is going to be, both titles are going to be replaced by the AEW Unified title. And that, both between the name and also the look of it, I thought it looks great. And it to me, it did come off very much like they're unifying these, and this is your A2 title, I would say. Which Continental kind of already was in a way, but I think they did all blend together there. Those two in the TNT. TNT's fallen on hard times, but I think this is a nice kind of clear cut. This is the second most important. This is your classic IC title equivalent.
Yeah,
I like the way it looks. Yeah, what thoughts on the belt before we do the rest?
Looks nice, and they've already built up the importance of the belt. Just with this, those two. This it already feels a lot more important than those two belts combined, which is great.
Yeah, I think the belt looks great. I think the Continental title looked terrible anyway. So
really?
I don't mind it. Yeah, I think the International title looks great.
I love the International title. Yeah,
it's a shame too. Is I thought the Continental title always looked like the cheapest of their belts. So I think this is a big improvement on that. And yeah, like you said, apparently they have the side plates of the Rainmaker and the One Winged Angel, which are apparently going to be permanent, regardless of who holds the belt. So that would be like signifying that this was the match that first the belt was won.
Right.
So those guys will forever be immortalized in this belt. But yeah, I think it looks good. It reminds me a bit of the original women's title, albeit bigger.
Yeah, I thought that as well. Yeah.
I thought that was a classy looking belt anyway, so I'm fine with that. Looks different enough to the world title, obviously. I like that's a bit more, separated plates, shaped plates, as opposed to just kind of like the international title and the world titles is just all gold, basically. I don't mind for it to be a little bit more segmented looking. And yeah, that looked great. And it does kind of underline the importance of the match as well. I mean, frankly, they've taken their time heating up Okada to Omega's level for this. I mean, he's been languishing in the mid card for a little too long. So hopefully this is kind of the stepping stone for him up the card where he belongs.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would really love for them to just like drop the whole bitch thing at this stage.
Yeah.
And like let's go to kind of like a serious character. Like he doesn't need the kind of jokey backstage vignettes anymore, backstage segments anymore. But this felt great. And then obviously the angle I thought was excellent. So
yeah. So they do their signing, and then out comes Don Callis feigning that
they shake hands as well.
Shake hands, yeah. So I guess with the earlier Callis segment and then the first half of this, they were kind of teasing the idea that Okada was like, all right, no bullshit, no elite, no tomfoolery, real deal, handshake, better man wins, no messing. Callis comes out again, and he's annoyed that like it's not one of his boys in this match, and Kenny's telling him to fuck off. And of course, where this is going a million miles away. Okada jumps him from behind with Okada's belt. Callis gets in the ring, gives Okada a police baton to strike Kenny with. Okada does his top rope elbow. The show, they do their little kind of, it is technically 2-hour blocks, so it fades down, and then the second half fades back up, and they immediately kick off the second 2-hour stretch with Okada hitting him with elbow drops while he's on the stretcher, which was great. And then also, very silly, but I think just the right brand of silly. Omega starts like spitting up like strawberry jam all over the place, like in just true wrestling fashion. Like, because he had his gut issues, and so Okada does an elbow drop to that section. So instantly he's like, "That's it, I'm dying. I'm spewing blood like a Mortal Kombat fatality." This was a lot of fun, and I thought it got over the right way with the audience, added a lot of heat to this. I do have one bugbear, and that is that I don't know if I needed us to revert Kenny back to feuding with Callis again. And I felt like we put that in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I like Callis as a performer, but it does feel like he's all over the show. I mean, he is all over the show. It doesn't feel like that he is.
It feels like Okada doesn't need this. He should be able to stand on his own. But
yes, yeah.
So, I don't know.
But I feel like if they had done a better job of building up Okada, that might have been the case.
Maybe you wouldn't need it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking, could you do a version of this angle where Don just doesn't come out and Okada just low blows him and does this? Yeah, you absolutely could. But again, that maybe speaks more to the Okada build-up issues you guys have talked about there.
One thing I like about the blood angle, admittedly, it did look like the kind of stuff that they will shoot on a wall to signify someone had their brains shot out. But I like that it was like, he hit him a few times with a baton, but then he just like did his move on him. And ultimately it was like an elbow that caused the injury, Yeah. He didn't hit him with 10 steel chair shots. He did his move.
Yeah, I like that.
Killed him with it, which I like.
Yeah, it's old school, isn't it?
Yeah. And I also like 10 points, the Kenny Omega, for not coming out in like baseball shorts and the t-shirt he slapped.
Oh,
yes.
Looking good.
This is a professional angle. Yeah. Also, because generally these days, and AEW is guilty of this, when you do an angle like this, they're always being hit with like a level 52 sword from Skyrim. You know what I mean? It's like when you do big angles like this, it's always a spiked shotgun guys are getting struck with, and this was a little bit old school there with the elbow drops. So yeah, good stuff there, and so that the commentator sold it really well, which I enjoyed. Kyle Fletcher versus Anthony Bowens. Ooh, skipperoo, please. Adam Cole on commentary. No, thank you. How was that?
Well, Anthony Bowens did the scissor thing, and then he went Molly Wop. So it was like there was 5 things in this match that weren't over at all. I think Kyle Fletcher was the only thing that wasn't. To be fair, I mean it was fine. Look, I just feel like they need to do like a Bowens Caster double turn at this stage.
Yeah,
because one of those guys is kind of getting over, and it's maybe not the one that they thought he was gonna be.
Yeah, I didn't watch Collision, so
probably for the best.
Yeah,
stop at 2 hours.
Although my moment of the whole show is up next.
Oh, so this is FTR interrupting Atlantis C Junior. I saw a couple of clips of this. Yeah, it seemed pretty good.
Mike, this had me roaring laughing. So FTR and Stokely interrupts. It was Atlantis and Atlantis Junior were being interviewed by Carlos Cabrera. And so Atlantis must be like mid-60s at this stage. And FTR and Stokely are out, and Dax is doing his thing where he asks him, what do you think if we were around back in your day? Oh, actually, here's what I think would be, which I think is a really good line. But anyway, the segment eventually devolves to the point where they're going to give this fella out to have a spike pile driver. Adam Cole leaves the commentary booth to break it up. Don Callis family run down. Templario and Bandito run down. Brody King runs down. Big schmoz. But then what happens is it leaves Dax Howard on the outside with Atlantis Senior. And Atlantis Senior is hitting him with the Hulk Hogan TNA punches, and he's selling it like Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam. And oh my God, it was so funny. And he's running for his life. He's tripping over the ring barricade. Atlantis is chasing him out into the crowd. Oh my God, it was so funny. If there's one thing, we normally recommend like matches of very high quality or segments with real personal stakes. This was my go out of your way to see moment. An owl fella chasing after Dax Howard and baiting the shite out. Absolutely.
So that then segued into I was literally just wondering where these lads, Big Bill and Brian Keith, came out.
Oh my God.
I was like, where the fuck have these boys been? And they were looking for challengers, and they got
the workhorse.
This is real Collision Hours here, boys. The workhorsemen, who I want to talk about wondering where people have been. I was about to say Collision. That is a rampage match right there. If ever I've seen one. Julia Hart versus Toni Storm, with Monet once again eating food at ringside. Okay, that's maybe
cooked steak.
Better cooked steak. But maybe the end of this bit, I would say, before it becomes too cloying.
Yes,
I would recommend.
Yeah.
How was the match?
I mentioned it in your Discord. Julia Hart, God love her. Love the entrance, love the music, love the Undertaker outfit. Let's whether it's Chris Daniels or Jerry Lynn, whoever, pull her aside and say, "Listen, girl, we're giving up on this moonsault thing because you cannot do it.
Yeah,
you land on your feet every time. It's, even when you're supposed to be hitting the moonsault, land on her feet." Yeah. So she hit the moonsault on Tony within like a minute of the match starting, and landed on her feet, and give it up. The match that was fine. It was kind of more about,
Monet.
Tony selling a lot, Monet watching on, and there was some very funny, like, Monet did a British accent at one point, even though neither Toni Storm nor Julia Hart are actually English, which made me laugh anyway. And she was like tweeting during the match and blah, blah. It was funny stuff. Storm won with the big package, of course, which they called on commentary as a small package. Guys, are you not paying attention?
No, stop getting Toni Storm wrong. The Ricochet teased Lee Johnson and Blake Christian as his goons. That's not a terrible.
Speaking of Rampage, though.
Yeah. Well, they're just going to lose for him. That's fair enough. This next match, though, is that what you were referencing? Get a load of this collection of names. MXM Collection and Taya versus Mark Briscoe, Tomohiro Ishii, and Willow Nightingale. Now, Mark Briscoe and Tomohiro Ishii and Willow Nightingale, there's a dream piss-up if ever there was one down the pole. I can just picture Big Tom like playing darts in the corner with like a pint of Stella. Yeah, they had a trios match. I mean, yeah, that is Rampage. That is Rampage stuff.
Yeah, this was filler. This was filler.
Teased a little Wheeler Yuta Chris Statlander thing. So I guess like in this ongoing Willow Statlander thing, they might tease Statlander joining the Death Riders, I guess, before she
that was the gimmick. Yeah.
before she, like, I think ultimately will stay on side with Willow. We'll see. Bandito versus Beast Mortos sounds like something I'd be interested in watching if it was not on a 4-hour block.
It was great.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Yeah. Lots of really impressive moves, especially the finish, like a big Spanish fly. Or a big, not Spanish fly, he does the fall away slam thing. Really good.
Got our big kind of conclusive thing on the Bucks claiming that they were doing what they were doing for Adam Page. He stormed into their locker room and he said, "Stay out of my business and stay out of Ospreay's business and stay out of Swerve's business," which was the big line.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And then they had a segment later where Swerve said he heard every word of that. So there you go.
Yeah, so they were there. Hangman was going to check on Will Ospreay in the trainer's room, and he kind of met the Bucks outside the room. They had the palaver there, and then during the argument, you'd see a little head poke out, and it was Prince Nana's head poking out the door and go back in. And then afterwards, the camera went into the room, and Nana said, "Boss, you heard all of that?" And Swerve kind of commits frame and said, "Yeah, I heard every word." So that was again some plot progression.
Then, if it wasn't for the 5-star match on the show, we had the best match of the night. We had Tekla versus Queen Aminata. Let me tell you, this Queen Aminata, right? They need to do the Wiffles C2, right? They need to do the C2, right? And she can be the E-Sheed.
This is the thing, right? People think meat match is just big muscly lads.
Yeah. Well, if you
this was as meaty a match as you will see, with two like super balls.
My big takeaway from this is like this woman throws a better strike than 90% of her male peers on this very show. In fact, I don't know. People are making a big hullabaloo about this. I thought it was great. I thought it was this is like the Athena thing all over again, where she had the match that kicked off her current thing, her current character, where she was like having a fairly rough match on, like, this is back in the dark AEW dark days, and be like, oh god, she could have killed that jabroni. And I just watched this and I thought it was really good. I thought Aminata. I mean, if you want to say if the agenda of the match gets tipped over, okay, maybe it didn't really do that, but it was still fun to watch in a vacuum. I thought
Tekla won.
Tekla, she won. Yeah, she got a good reaction for her.
Well, let me pose to you guys a question: which is more important to you guys as viewers, whether these two women have a really hard hitting match, which may err on the stiff side a little bit, or if they're actually friends afterwards?
Definitely the former.
There's no friends in wrestling.
No friends in wrestling, baby.
It's called show business, not show.
But Queen Aminata got out of the ring and walked away afterwards. Who fucking cares?
Who cares?
The only thing that's real is the money and the miles, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I honestly, I hope they lean into this and they do the match again next week.
I do have a criticism.
Go on.
Where's Jamie Hayter?
This was my exact thing. I was like, because we talked about that last week, and then this week it's like, okay, so she wins, she beats Aminata. Maybe Jamie Hayter was like, damn, Jamie fucking Aminata doesn't need my help, brother. But yes, I don't know. Are there more visa issues? Is there a back issue? Is there? But I mean, not a whisper, not a mention of. Tekla debuted by laying out Jamie Hayter. Nothing. What is happening? I feel like, although we did just reference earlier the classic Tony Khan follow-up problem. So maybe this is just a case of we did the Monday match and that's that. Yeah, we don't really have anything else for right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I mean, I don't know. Are they going to circle back to it for the pay-per-view? Is that like a low level like Tekla's pay-per-view show? But even still, it's like, but why isn't Jamie Hayter on these? Like, are we acting like the one clothesline she took injured her? Yeah, very very odd. That is a criticism.
I mean, yeah, that segment was like, we're going to interview Jamie Hayter about what's next for her after losing to the final to Monet.
Good question, Renee.
And then she gets clotheslined and she's out for like 3 weeks. Like what's going on?
Yeah, not great. But yeah, I can only assume we must be circling back to that match because there's also there's not really much for Tekla to be doing at the moment with the 2 titles tied up in one program.
No, I expect next week Hayter. Maybe not on the Mexico show, but maybe the week after Hayter will come out.
And then we had yet another very funny punchline of Paragon going on last on a 4-hour show. I don't know about that one, boys.
I mean, it speaks to the company's current position on Paragon and Danny Garcia. Unfortunately, is last match of the 4-hour specials when nobody's still tuned in. That's where we'll throw the boys.
Yeah. So there you go. Arena Mexico next week, looking like a fun show.
Yeah, MJF, Mystico, Zuxis, Mercedes Monet, Moxie, Claudio, Wheeler, Young Bucks, Osprey, Swerve, Joe, Shabbat and Hobbs, Adam Cole, Danny Garcia, Brody King, Bandito, Templario, and Lannis Jr. versus FTR, Fletcher, Takeshita, Josh Alexander, and Hedges Cero as well. I think there's 1 or 2 matches that have been made also since. That's what's here.
And that's a really good card as is, but also 4 million pesos high flying 4-way. Mascara Dorada, Ricochet, Hologram, Leo Rush. That'll be great fun. And also Mark Briscoe, baby, Grand Slam Mexico challenging for that Continental Championship. Actually, he's not challenging. Sorry, because that's a non-title match. But they're doing Briscoe Okada, which will be great crack. That's a really good looking show, and that's a 2-hour block. So that is going to be tasty. That's going to be boom, 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 boom
in front of a hot Mexican crowd as well.
Yeah, in
Mexican crowd
in Arena Mexico. That is so. I'm really looking forward to that show. And they are also taping a ROH thing that actually sounds pretty fun as well. Athena and Billy Starks versus Thunder Rosa and Persephone, and Lee Moriarty versus Blue Panther. So fun stuff. They're making the most of their time down there. That's going to be good crack. One last nitpick of Summer Blockbuster is you have a 4-hour show called Summer Blockbuster. There wasn't a single title match.
Yeah. They had a 5-star, 5 1/4.
I mean, fair enough, but I would have had like a TNT title match at least.
Okay, that's going to do it for that's it for the 4-hour blocks. Anyway, back to two 2-hour shows there next week. Let's jump into the non-wrestling reviews here. Who watched a movie this week?
I just got one movie.
Go on.
To review.
Go for it.
It's called Magic Farm. So this is an independent movie out this year that we watched on Mubi. So it is directed by I can't remember who directed it, to be honest. Let me just look it up.
Someone
definitely directed it. It was a woman who's also in it, and her name is Amelia Ullman. So she stars in the movie, and I think wrote and directed it as well. So essentially, it's about I'm not sure if they were like an online company or like it's supposed to be a TV company. But there's this group of sort of filmmakers going down to Argentina to try and make a little vignette about some kind of trends that they're spotted online. So it's like a show that covers online trends. So they go down there and they quickly find out that this trend is a load of, or that they've gone to the wrong place or something like that. So then they have to kind of look for like another trend to cover for the show. So that's kind of the basic premise, but really it's about actually the characters and their kind of interactions with the locals and with each other. It's a comedy. It's a very kind of lo-fi, character-driven kind of comedy. Not sort of big plot or big action thing. It's small, very kind of intimate, very funny. A lot of just shot very realistically. Yes, it was very very enjoyable. It stars Chloe Sevigny. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she's in it as a kind of main presenter. And really, really nice supporting cast of kind of Argentinian actors as well. So I recommend checking it out. It's a fun little movie. Not going to blow your socks off, but certainly enjoyable. So yeah, Magic Farm.
All right,
interesting.
I watched a couple of films this week. I watched 2 documentaries about the making of films this week.
Ooh.
which is my theme of the week. I watched the very amusingly titled Art Attack about the making of Terrifier 3. Which was fun, a good watch for fans. It's as you'd imagine, it's a lot of the ins and outs of the practical effect contraptions and gory practical effect explosions and all that. It's fun. I was kind of hoping for a smidge more about. They do talk about this stuff, but I feel it's a pretty surface level documentary. That was my main kind of criticism. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more on the kind of the ins and outs of kind of like how it went from a film made for 35,000 quid a couple of years ago to this sequel being made for like 20 million or whatever it was made for. They don't really they touch on it. They don't really get into that kind of stuff. They talk a little bit about the change over time from like Leone being a writer director and also the effects guy on the first two to this one having to be like hands off and just directing, and they got in outsiders to do the effects and some of that stuff. It's good. I think fans of the film will enjoy it. It's worth a watch. It's only about 90 minutes. Similarly, I watched then Wick is Pain, which is a John Wick documentary. And this was also very good, but this had a little bit more of that kind of stuff I was hoping for from the Terrifier documentary. This is it's a little bit of a retrospective on really the whole franchise up to this point. And it talks about which feels like a lifetime ago now, and people might not even realize its beginnings as a weird little kind of like indie action thing, like big budget for an indie film, small budget for an action film, realistically. Reeves, not necessarily, people call it his comeback movie. I mean, kind of. It's not like he was gone. It was just kind of like he was maybe at the would you say he was at a bit of a valley career-wise? He put out a couple of clunkers. It was we were a long time post Matrix, So they talk about that, and they have it's a lot of present day interviews mixed in with actual filmed in real time behind the scenes footage of the actual original film being made. And I'm sure some people might be aware of the famous trivia note about that first film is that it was on the cusp of not being made, and then they were searching around for investors, and of all people, Ava Longoria financed the film to get it across the finish line and got a producer credit, so she's right there in the but they've got a lot of great like footage. They talk about the history of Selesky and Leitch, and they're like it's really thorough. They talk about The Crow. They talk about Selesky finishing The Crow after Brandon Lee passed away. His closeness to Brandon Lee, his enthusiasm for martial arts, stunt work, really thorough. And then fuck it, let's give it a go and try and direct our own film. And then they've got some just really fascinating footage of them in 2013. And they're like, we've sold this Lionsgate has sold this movie internationally. We're going to shoot in like a day, but financer pulled out, and we don't know where we're going to get this money. And Keanu Reeves is taking a pay cut, and the directors are giving their money back. And it's a lot of hands covering faces, staring at monitors, waiting for emails to come in. All that stuff is really good. They talk about their friendship, the director's friendship, but then also their butting heads and why, the first one is a co-direction and then the second, third, and fourth are just Stileski. They get into all that stuff. It's not a, and they're both interviewed. Leitch is interviewed and he gives his side, and it's a good kind of behind the scenes. Here's the hard work that went into this movie. Look at how we did this. Look at how we did that. Here's how we came up with this idea. There's lots of footage of Stileski and Reeves rewatching parts of it and reminiscing at, this filming. This was fucking painful. This was tough. This worked. This didn't work. But then it's also a lot of the fun ins and outs of specifically the first one. I think the first half of the film is more interesting than the second. It's really good all in all. But the headaches of getting that first one made are really fascinating. And it's just they have a great bevy of footage from all four films in it. So big thumbs up if you like the Wick franchise at all. I would say this is well worth a watch.
Nice.
And released earlier this year, and they end the film by kind of saying, we would absolutely be down to do a fifth one, but we'd have to it would have to be the right idea. So obviously they filmed this before they confirmed they're making another one. So there you go. In non-documentary films, I watched Clown in a Cornfield, which is kind of this year's kind of buzzy, low budget indie horror thing.
Oh yeah.
From the chap who directed Tucker and Dale versus Evil, if anyone's seen that, which is good fun. I like that film. This is, I would say, tonally, this is like it's not quite the exact same thing. It's a little bit close. It's very similar though. It's definitely a horror comedy. It's a little Landon-esque, a little Happy Death Day, freaky kind of slasher with a couple of jokes in it. It's fun. It's it's cheesy. It's very cheap. I think it's I was checking out this guy's Letterboxd after watching this, and it's like he really hasn't done very much since Tucker and Dale versus Evil. It's good fun. It's good fun. It's not an essential watch, but if you want a cheesy slasher with some genuinely, there were some laughs in I had some genuine actual laughs watching this, which is always good. So thumbs up on that. A very easy watch if you want a slasher. It's got some kind of amusing kills, and it's not especially kind of grotesque or gross. It's very they could release this in a theater, no problem. This could be a big studio film in terms of its level of violence. I also watched in preparation for the sequel. I finally got around to watching The Accountant, which is the Ben Affleck autistic accountant assassin. No, he is actually autistic. If you've ever seen any clips of this and thought, oh God, are they doing an autism without saying autism? No, they explicitly, the child is explicitly in the flashbacks, like going to like a neuroscience.
Right. I don't like this trend. There's that show called The Autistic Doctor as well, or something, and it's like,
oh, I know that one. Yeah.
And it's just like, it's kind of presenting autism as a superpower kind of thing, and I just find that very uncomfortable. Like, you've always had characters that were like that would be described as like, oh, on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes, for example, any detective really is like that. But now this thing of, oh, it's autism, and that's a superpower. Rain Man, but actually like superhero Rain Man, not.
And this, I almost feel like it's more tasteless to just actually say it's autism. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it was actually less tasteless to just kind of imply that that's what it is. Like he's got like non-specific kind of neurodivergence. This film, what this film feels like? It feels like when well-meaning white directors make movies about race. And everyone's just like, mate, this is really cringe and lame what you're doing. This is like, you made Green Book. Do you know what I mean? It's like, this is kind of like, this feels like a bunch of people who probably think they're making a really powerful film about autism, and it's actually kind of like, now I have seen people, this film absolutely has defenders of people with autistic family members, people with autism who think it's great. So it's not as cut and dry as that. I will say purely from a film, purely as a viewer watching the film, I was like, it's just a bit kind of lame. I think it's just kind of it feels like a very you could cut all of that stuff out of the film and you would lose basically nothing. Do you know what I mean?
And it's not like you see autistic characters who are people that have real difficulties just with everyday life. It's always the kind of savant type of autism. It's not like it's really representative. It's like it's like someone who's an amputee but they've got like a fucking robot arm or something. Like you don't see an actual amputee, you just see people who are like, I don't know. I don't like it, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up as well because there are like various scenes with kids, and actually one scene with an adult as well with autism. I'm looking here on the Wikipedia. I'm like, did they get actual people, or did they just have neurotypical people doing that? Which I don't really like. That's
the other thing. Ben Affleck, don't believe he is actual.
No. Now the way, I mean, the flashback scenes where he's a kid are where it's a little bit more kind of like he's acting out, and he's that's a little bit more kind of, and then the idea is that while he has his neuroses as an adult, he is somewhat more. Affleck is not like doing an over the top performance as an autistic person, I will say, but yeah, I mean, like he's brought
it's
into
not like Derek.
No, it's not Derek. No, but like he's brought into he's able to uncook fucked up books for like big firms and then also do sick headshots. I would say that stuff isn't great. The entire rest of the film I think is actually pretty good. It's one of those action films where it's kind of not really an action film. The action really kicks and it's really good, but it's not paced like a Wick, for example. It is more of a thriller where the action set pieces punctuate like the three acts, more or less. That stuff already works. I think there's a puzzle box element to it that I think solves in a relatively interesting way. And the thing that's really striking about this film is the cast. You got Affleck, you got Anna Kendrick, you got J.K. Simmons, you got John Bernthal, you got Jeffrey Tambor, John Lithgow, Gene Smart. Really, really, really super cast. I'm trying to think. I was like, what about this like script made you think, oh yeah, I have to be in on this? But it overcomes some of those very cringeworthy aspects, and it's pretty good. It's directed by Gavin O'Connor, who did Warrior and a couple of other things. So, it's well made. I'm curious about the sequel. And that was it for me this week. What about you, Paul?
Just the one, and it's a big one. So I watched the Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd black comedy film Friendship.
Sure about that, bud?
Yeah. Well, if you like Tim Robinson,
Yeah.
what the hell? Fuck. Yeah, he does that. He does his Tim Robinson stuff. So it's it's like going to a concert. You're gonna see AC/DC. You want to see Thunderstruck. You want to see Back in Black.
Yeah.
If you watch a Tim Robinson movie, you want to see that thing he does where he does the face.
Yeah.
With the eyes. You want to see him shout and go fuck at the end. Fuck. And you want to see him go, hey, we're not going to have a sloppy steak here, am I? I used to be a piece of shit. Yeah, I mean, he plays the hits a little bit. To the point where I did compare him to kind of Adam Sandler in a way, where obviously his comedy is a little bit more surreal than Adam Sandler's, but like Adam Sandler has his character that he does in almost every. Mm-hmm. He always plays the same. Mm-hmm. And there was moments in this movie where I thought, if this movie steers into a more serious direction, I don't know if I'm going to be able to take Tim Robinson very seriously. Because he's definitely, a lot. The movie, first of all, is very funny and it is very, very good. But it does feel like a lot of the plot and a lot of the dialogue is improvised or ad-libbed. Mm-hmm. And so it does come away feeling like a series of, 7 or 8, I think you should leave sketches that they kind of stitch together into a kind of black comedy.
Yes. Yeah.
While it still has that A24
sheen
kind of well, not in sheen, but like vibe of like if you look at the plot overall, without Tim Robinson in it, that plot could be applied to a number of A27.
Right.
Like the kind of thing you see, what's the guy, the half in the bag guys love? The
Kyle Gallner?
Gallner, yeah. I mean, it could very easily be a plot of what it is kind of movies.
Yeah.
But obviously the comedy within it is very of the style of I Think You Should Leave. So it's kind of a direct transposition of that style into this kind of movie. So I know someone who saw it and without having seen the trailer and saw Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd, and was expecting a Paul Rudd. So I said, well, I think it's definitely the kind of movie you will better enjoy if you're already very familiar with Tim Robinson, his style. I wouldn't say it's a very good introduction to Tim Robinson and his style. It definitely feels like you should have a prior knowledge or some kind of stepping stone into this movie. Also stars Kate Mara, notably. She plays his wife. Just saying this for anybody else really knows. There's a lot of people from
the Robinson verse,
the Robinson verse you will see show up.
Conor O'Malley is in it. I know, I've seen that.
Conor O'Malley is in it, correct. And so I mean it is weird as you might expect. Craig Robinson, he's a different actor. He's in
it's the Seth Rogen verse crossing over with the Tim Robinson verse.
Tim Robinson plays a character called Craig, hence the confusion.
Okay.
Tim Robinson plays it, like he does. He's a bit weird in it. The character is a bit strange. And although, the trailer and the poster portray it as a Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd movie, Paul Rudd is maybe centrally featured for like the first quarter and then kind of comes and goes. It's definitely more about the Tim Robinson character and not only how the Paul Rudd character interacts with him, but also about his relationship with his wife, about his relationship with his community and himself.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily specifically Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd. That's kind of sold that way. There is one scene in particular that I want to point out. I won't spoil it, obviously, but there is a trope that a lot of comedy movies use, and this is the best ever use of that trope I've seen in cinematic history.
Ooh.
So absolutely worth a watch for that. You'll know what I mean when you see it.
Okay.
One of the highlights, absolute highlights of the movie. Yeah, it's very good. It's weird, like I say. Don't recommend it to your Paul Rudd loving neighbor,
Right.
necessarily. But if you are familiar with Robinson and his stuff from I Think You Should Leave and his various other appearances he's done, yeah, you'll probably like it, even if it's not like it won't blow your socks off.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good solid movie. Hour 40, I think. So it kind of comes and goes, doesn't overstay it's welcome either. So yeah, give it a thumbs up.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching that. that. All right, Telly. Joe, what are you watching this week?
Not much for me really. We started watching a new series, Parenthood, which is an adaptation of the film from the 80s that Michelle really likes. So we're kind of getting into that. It's okay. That's pretty much it. Never really started anything new. Been a busy week, so yeah, kind of hunted around for a new series. I'd love to carry on with Slow Horses, but I don't want to burn through it all too quickly. So yeah, nothing notable really at the moment. Taskmaster, I did watch it.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
And I thought one of the best ever live tasks. It was
100% agree.
tremendous.
I went from the task began and I thought, this isn't a very good task. I'm not really into this. And by the end, I was on the edge of my seat, leaning forward, biting my fingernails.
So tense.
Oh my God, so dramatic.
So
good.
tense. It's great.
And it's like I say, sometimes the simplest tasks are the best. So to illustrate to Barry, so what the teams were doing was they had a fence up on the stage and they had to feed wooden spoons through the slits in the fence and pass a tennis ball along the length of the fence and into a bucket.
Okay.
And the two teams were going in alternate directions and you weren't allowed to touch the other team's spoons, bucket, or balls. And so it kind of started off like a little bit like, oh, this is just going to be like they pass it along. And then they were dropping it constantly at the top, drop. And then they started to kind of figure out systems. So they would like hold 2 spoons each and they would like hold the ball between 2 spoons. The other person would come around into the next slit and take it with their 2 spoons. And Stevie and Jason.
Yes.
Jason. They had their little catchphrase, I'm locked in, which is very funny. And they were going to win. And then the other team were doing it much more dangerously, but they were catching up. They were just passing it they weren't like holding between 2 spoons. They were just passing it from spoon to spoon. Oh my God, they're catching up. Who's going to get it? And then at the very end, they dropped. Oh, it hit the rim of the bucket. It didn't go in. And the other team won. Oh, it was so good. I feel like with this series of Taskmaster, they've really nailed like the episode order, because I think every episode I'm enjoying more than the one before.
Right. There we go.
I thought this one was very, very strong. I also liked the there was the task they had before that. Let me just pull up the episode here. Taskmaster season 9, episode 7, I believe it was. Give me one second here, guys.
It was the one in the garden with the bucket.
Yes, they had to run up and down with the bucket.
Move forwards and a hole in it. Yeah, that was
which
classic.
Manzukis nailed, but then didn't put the right amount of water.
Yeah.
Again, classic.
I say on the on location one where they had to unlock the boxes. I struggled to follow that one a little bit, to be honest. Just like,
that one was weird because there were too many
things going on,
reveals of what the thing was, which they somehow didn't like figure out. But I thought it was a very, very, very good episode. Very enjoyable. And so what do we have left? We've like 3 left this year, I think it is. And then I might start the ones that I'm missing.
Yeah,
I might go back to season, I think 15 is the first one of ours. So 15 through 18 and the various specials and that. So I also started watching a new show.
Go on.
Called MobLand.
Oh yeah, bro, it's bloody Tom Hardy in it.
There's Pierce Brosnan as well.
And Pierce Brosnan, the
Yes.
Irishman, doing an Irish accent. Yeah.
I'm Pierce Brosnan. Hello, I tell you.
Try Pierce Brosnan. Sure, don't I sound like Pierce Brosnan?
Yeah, so it's Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan, Helen
Mirren. It's a Guy Ritchie joint, isn't it?
Yes, he directed at least the first 2 eps. It's pretty decent, pretty good. I mean, I don't watch a lot of these mob shows. I never watched Peaky Blinders. I never watched Kin. I've never watched Sopranos, famously. So I'm not super burned out on the mob genre of kind of prestige drama. So this is fairly new to me, fairly fresh. I really like Tom Hardy in it. I know Tom Hardy can kind of blow hot and cold with something.
Yeah.
But I think I really like his, because he plays like the fixer here. So his character is very mathematical about everything. He's calling the person, I'm on the way, get this and this sorted out. I'll be here at this time, and then I need this person to go over here. And so he's like totally always unemotional and calm and sorting stuff out for the gangsters. And here we're going to do this. Pierce Brosnan's accent. Man. My God. So Pierce Brosnan, who is an Irishman,
yes,
of course, left Ireland at the age of 10 to move to London.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Yes. If you know Pierce's normal accent, you know that he has that little Irish lilt, but he also has the soft kind of R sound of a British accent. You know, it's very much a half and half between Ireland and England, which is why, as Bond, he was able to fit so seamlessly in, but also have the little Irishness that made people love him. So,
yeah, I think it's a pretty good mix for success, I think, there, isn't it?
Oh,
I think it serves him well.
Yeah. What doesn't serve him so well is for him to return to Ireland 50 years later and say, I'm going to do a Kerry accent. Which is a place he's never lived, as far as I'm aware.
Or been to.
One of the hardest accents to nail as well. I mean, if you go to Ireland and search like incomprehensible Irish man interviewed on news, it's like always Kerry people.
Yeah.
Whatever it is about the Kerry accent. And so he does nail a lot of it, to be fair. But you will hear that little bit of the English accent on certain vowels or at the end of certain words, which non-Irish viewers may not pick up on. It might just sound like an Irish country accent. When you're so used to hearing those accents on TV or with friends and family or people you know, it stands out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
You're like, that is... He's like 60, 75% there, but it's the 20%, 25% that you're constantly hitting your head against. We think, oh God, this guy, why didn't he just do his normal accent? Why can't he just be like the character he's, for all intents and purposes, like an Irish guy who's moved out to England, living in England? Just have him do his normal Irish English accent. What's the problem? Like his son in the show is Paddy Considine. He's not trying to pretend to be Irish. He's just doing his normal voice. So why can't Brosnan just like, okay, try and maybe affect a very, very slight act, but like just do your normal voice, it's fine. And then you have Helen Mirren, who is also playing an Irish character. She is doing classic, just general Irish accent.
Yes, non-specific actor Irish.
Non-specific. Yeah. She hasn't, she's not picking out like we're doing specifically a Sligo accent here, folks. That's what we're going for. No, she just did. You big fucking idiot! You big god, which is fine.
Oh dear.
Which is fine, and she sounds fine in it. But like, I think the problem was Brosnan going with such a hyper-specific and also very strange and specific Irish accent might have been a mistake in retrospect. And I think if he had just not tried to be so unique with it and had done, even if he had done what Mirren did and just kind of be generic Irish, I think that would have kind of stood out less. Performances in it are very good. Everyone's is good in it. The plot is fair. I'm only 2 episodes in, but the plot is kind of very strong and moves along to a good tip. I will say one of my misgivings about it early on, it being a Guy Ritchie joint, is one of the early plot points concerns the Pierce Brosnan character's grandson, who's like a young 20-somethings kind of, if this was a decade ago, he might have been played by like Taron Egerton or something like that. And he's the, oh, fucking have it, mate. Give him one of your fucking penis kind of character, right? So he's so annoying. Like that, I cannot stand that kind of, have it, you drop cockney, can't, oh, you fucking can't. You know what I mean? I like just the super annoying arsehole 20-somethings mobster grandson wanker character. That's like to be fair, the actor nails it. The actor plays that role perfectly, and he's like designed to be super annoying. And my God, so annoying. But like it's a good show. Like I say, I think it's on Paramount.
Yes, it's a Paramount thing.
So I don't know if you might come across it on Now TV or any other of your joints, but I think it's a 10-episode run. The episodes are like 45, 50 minutes, so it's not too bad to watch. And like I said, it is fairly decent. Like I think it's better than I went in expecting it to be. So worth a watch, worth a check out if you're in the mood for that kind of thing. And like I said, the actors in it are of a good quality, and the performances are quite good in it. So
yeah. I thought that the trailer didn't look great, but the reviews have been pretty solid thus far. Speaking of the reviews, been solid. I finished The Studio. Per your boy's recommendation. Great stuff. Really liked it. I loved the late edition of Zoe Kravitz. She was fantastic. Great stuff. Really, really, really good. Really clever. Really fun. Very kind of punchy, satirical. Satirical without being kind of cloying or annoying. And likewise, all the cameos, you would really think you'd run the risk of them being like irritating, but they're very well done.
Yes.
Very, very well done. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I would absolutely watch more of that. So, I kind of spent this weekend I wanted to kind of finish off a bunch of shows I've had kind of meandering around for ages. So I also finished The Hardy Bucks, the Irish sitcom on RTE. Last season, absolutely dreadful, unfortunately, which is a shame. Given the English run for their money, a 4-episode season was the final season. 4 20-minute episodes, nothing, and it was so half-assed. It was so. I mean, the show's kind of appeals. It's very cheap and kind of tacky looking. I mean, it's kind of a Trailer Park Boys inspired kind of like Irish mockumentary about a bunch of jobless do-nothings, but even by that standard, the 4th season is crap. Overall, though, a very good show, a very fun show. First 3 seasons and the YouTube stuff, very, very good, very fun, very clever, very sharp writing and fun performances. So overall, well worth watching. And then I finally decided myself and Rona finished watching Always Sunny there a few weeks ago. So we kind of wanted something new to watch. So we started King of the Hill. Just ahead of its return in September.
Yeah.
So we said we'd give it. I had never seen a full episode of King of the Hill before we started this. It's for one of those things. I was actually talking about this with some of my friends last night when we were playing. We were gaming. I was mentioning I think it's one of those things where when you're a kid, I mean, The Simpsons is a little bit more palatable, maybe because of its color scheme. Maybe its humor is a little bit more loud, maybe in a way that appeals to you as a kid, whereas King of the Hill isn't. So I always, even though it was always on telly, I just didn't feel bothered with it. But I've watched the first 8 episodes of it, and it is hysterical. I love it already. I first 8 episodes really, genuinely, really, really funny. Really, really charming. I like the little family dynamic. All the characters are very fun. You've got a really fun cast. Obviously, there was that awful story there about the voice actor for Jonathan Jost was murdered, which is absolutely awful. So yeah, it's a very weird time to be starting the show because that happened, and then also the show is coming back, so they're in this very weird kind of bittersweet period. But great, really, really, really fun show. I like as well that the new season that's coming out it's going to be set in present day, so all that time will have elapsed. So there'll be, I think that'll be make for a lot of entertaining viewing. But yeah, very fun, and also very another thing to say out as well is I didn't realize Brittany Murphy was in King of the Hill as the niece character that lives with them. She's very good. She's really good in the voiceover stakes. But yeah, super, super entertaining so far. I'm almost finished season 1, and it is very, very, very fun.
Well, I've also never watched, I don't think, a full episode of King of the Hill either.
I think you will definitely get a kick out of it. Is it my favorite Mike?
I like Mike Judge a lot.
I was about to say, yeah. Is it my favorite Mike Judge thing? I mean, I haven't watched that much Beavis and Butthead. I think I've watched more of the new Beavis and Butthead than original Beavis and Butthead. I like Mike Judge's stuff a lot, but I think the bang for your buck in terms of laughs on King of the Hill has been really fantastic. Yeah. So thumbs up on that. I can't wait to watch more. Yeah, Paul, I think you get a kick out of it if you were to add it to your list. Video games. I've just kind of been playing all the usual stuff I've been mentioning. Got a lot of big games on the played currently, so I'm still like working through Assassin's Creed and Claire Obscure. I did take a look this week at this just came out, Berserk or Die. This is from the Vampire Survivors people. Did you ever play Vampire Survivors, Paul? I can't remember if we talked about it.
No, but I must be the only person in the world.
It feels like, yeah, I'm kind of surprised you didn't. This is the next thing from them. Similarly, this is a like £3 game on Steam. And it's kind of, whereas Vampire Survivors was top down, this one is side scrolling. So you're doing kind of left and right 2D plane, and whereas the gimmick with Vampire Survivors is you can't attack, you just move. This is the opposite. You can only attack. So it's basically your character won't move unless you attack. And I think the more fun gimmick, and it's fun but also a bit troublesome, is attacking to the left of the screen, you press any button on the left-hand side of the keyboard. Attacking to the right of the screen, you press any button on the right-hand side of the keyboard. And how much power your attacks do is based on how many buttons on that side of the keyboard you press. So you are like smashing your fist into the left side of the keyboard if you want to do a big heavy attack onto the left hand side of the screen. So I have multiple times turned off this keyboard, switched it to Mac mode, because I have a wireless, like a third party keyboard for my PC, so it has all these alternate settings for different like regions and working with Macs. I have multiple times accidentally triggered shortcuts. I turned on like my performance metrics, my little frame rate counter at the top of the screen by accident, because it has like you just mash the keyboard to play this game. So it's like Vampire Survivors. It's very clever. It has a little bit of depth to it there, even though it's very simple and it's just a couple of quid. I've only put about an hour into it, but it's fun. I'll keep having a look at that. Yeah. What are you? Where are you at on your Oblivion travels?
I've completed Oblivion. Did all the side quests, all the guilds, all the main quests.
Wow. Everything.
Everything. So I'm onto the DLC now. I've completed the first DLC, Knights of the Nine. So I'm onto the Shivering Isles DLC, which again comes with the version of the game on Game Pass.
Yes.
You get everything. Shivering Isles is kind of weird. I do like it. It's just super different. So it's like, remember I mean, you know about like the mod game community.
Oh, of course.
Remember there was that really high profile Zelda one that came out, Missing Link, which was supposed to like take place between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. It's like a super professional, well put together game in its own right. But it's like sometimes when you're so used to the actual games and playing them over and over and so used to how they feel in every little nook and cranny, then this new game comes out with that same engine and same mechanics, but like in a slightly different world. And you're like, oh, wait a minute, this ain't right. So Shivering Isles kind of feels like that. Like I've put now, between my first playthrough and this one, 200 hours into Oblivion. I don't know. Like I've basically 100% Oblivion twice now. And then you play DLC as like in a different world and everything's slightly different. The enemies are different. And it does feel like, oh, this feels like slightly different game. I mean, the only thing I can liken it to is if you played like, I don't know, the Spider-Man games over and over, and then they brought out a DLC that didn't take place in New York, but instead in some like alien world. You're like, wait a minute, this is different. This is different than what I'm used to. And you play as Mary Jane or something. No, let's not do that again.
No.
Yeah. So you go to this other island, and you're like, all the enemies are different. The world, like fauna, is different. It's like giant mushrooms. So that's all super weird. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm playing that for, I don't know, 5 hours, give or take. So I'll finish that this week and I'll be done with it. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this Oblivion remaster. I will say again, I think I must be coming up on 100 hours that I put into it. I would say I've had probably 150 crashes, like full crashes. Which is crazy, a crazy amount of, like, the game will just, like, there was one dungeon I was doing, and every time I would kill this one enemy, like, the game would crash. So I don't know whether that's something that they can patch. I know that it's just like an old game with a new sheen of paint on it, but oh my God, the crashes were getting crazy at one point. There was a point where I thought I might not actually be able to finish this. I might have soft locked the game for myself, but I was able to go back to it and say, get through it. But like, my God, one of the most fun games, but also, I mean, God, it's so rolling. So when you're playing it, it's fine. It's not necessarily buggy or like noticeably bad in that regard, but like it crashes so often. Like you'll get a crash once an hour probably playing the game. And then I played a little bit of FC 25, which is the new name for FIFA since they lost the license.
Yes.
Because that came to Game Pass this week.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? I haven't played FIFA in a while. There was no Football Manager this year. So I've been kind of itching for a football game. So I downloaded that for free, booted it up. Oh, man, what a big pile of shit that game is, let me tell you.
Requests to spend real money on the main menu instantly, is it?
Not even, but like the menus and the various interfaces are so clunky, so non-intuitive that like it really sucks the fun out of playing the game. So I was playing like a career mode, and you're reading emails and reading notes from players, but like to click to the email and then to get back to be able to actually advance to the next day. There's too many screens, too many clicks, too many. It's not fun. And then to go to your transfer, you want to make a transfer. You go to your transfer hub. You can't find out what your like balance is until you're actually making an offer for a player. Like you can't really plan ahead. Like it's just, it's such a mess. And then playing the game, like I've always been a Pro Evolution fan, going back to like, God, what were the first one? Like 3. And even before that, like International Superstar Soccer on the Super Nintendo was the Konami football game prior to Pro Evolution Soccer. But like, while those games were limited in their scope, the more important thing was when you were playing the game, playing the football, it felt so good. I just have never got on with FIFA the same. I just don't think the FIFA games are like fun to play. Now, this is the first one I've tried in a couple of years, and I was hoping maybe this would be the one, but like, it just doesn't feel fun. It feels like the players feel so slow. The difficulty will just like swing wildly. Like I'll beat one team 7-0 and then I'll lose my next game 5-1. And it's like, it's too wild in terms of that. And it's just not fun to play. Like I didn't get a great kick out of it. So I played career mode for like 2 months. Then I just uninstalled it. I said, had my fill. I don't like these games.
Yeah.
I don't like FC 24. Don't like FIFA. Unfortunately, eFootball, which is the Pro Evolution, kind of follow up, they look like they made a total hames out of that as well.
Yeah, they've all that up, I'm pretty sure.
So I just don't play football games anymore, unfortunately, I guess is the... I can play that, what's it called?
I was just about to say, the Sifu developers game. Yeah. That's coming out next week. So, and that's also coming to Game Pass as well, so you can play it. You didn't play the demo at all? Or I guess it was a
no, I didn't.
It's really fun. It is very, very.
I might give that a go.
Yeah, next week is a good week on the old Game Pass. You've got that Control multiplayer game. I know you're not a big multiplayer. I'll give that a look. But then also that, Rematch. I believe Rematch is what it's called.
Yes.
That I played a couple of hours of that during the. It's super. It's really, really super, and I think it's going to be a hit as well because that second beta they were running, it was the network was getting hammered by people trying to log on and play it. So I think it's going to be a hit. Yeah. And you can just hold out hope that the next actual FIFA branded game will be a hit. Reportedly with 2K.
It'd be interesting to see another company have a crack at it.
Yeah, I mean, has 2K ever made a soccer
game?
A soccer game? Have they ever made a soccer game?
No.
But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. That's actually gone very quiet. Actually, I was just googling there because I forgot that it's not FIFA anymore, and it looks like they haven't even formally confirmed that is the part. That's the rumor. But so if they are putting out an actual FIFA branded game, it's a ways off.
The last FIFA game I enjoyed was...
Sorry, I'm just looking at that.
I haven't seen there. It's time to look at the ark and have a laugh.
Oh, excellent. Oh, my God.
Oh,
fantastic.
And this.
Anyway. I like to think that the listeners they download the episode, they see it in their app, and they go, I get to see their reaction to this in 3 hours time. Alrighty, with all that said, that is another episode wrapped up. Thank you very much, folks, for listening. 701 episodes deep. We'll be back next week with, I'm trying to see, I mean, we might have a rematch talks that will be out next week, and more
in Mexico.
Grand Slam Mexico. I'm really looking forward to that. So we'll have a review of that, plus the other fun and games you come to expect from CSB. So ChairShotPodcast.com is where you can listen. It's where you can see the Fantasy League updated in real time, and it's where you can email us if you have anything to ask or say, or a quiz or a question, or just your thoughts on Dynamite this week, or whatever's on your mind. Thanks very much for listening, folks. Thank you very much for hosting with me, boys. It's goodbye from me, Barry. It's goodbye from Joe.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye, Paul.
Goodbye.